You ready? Okay, I think it's basically 8:30, according to my clock here. I'll call the meeting to order. Call the meeting to order and need a motion to approve the agenda. And on the agenda, just one quick note, just approving of all the budgets. I don't know, if it's the word that's been there before, we like the action or not, no action, really on budget items, I guess, on them. So I don't know if we need to just let that be known that way. My opinion is we should approve budgets as we go. We'll just go over them. Discussion on that.
Just discuss them.
Didn't discuss them, so.
Don't approve them.
We strike approval.
Yes.
Yeah, just discuss.
Okay.
So, okay, and we get a motion to approve the agenda.
I so move.
Second,
Second.
So you're not planning to approve anything, are you planning on them coming back then?
if
At the
necessary,
very end.
take notes on. All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Let's say pledge allegiance, all right? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, before we do public comment, I'd like to take 1 second to introduce Judy here, a new member of the board here. Judy Clark, glad to have her.
thank
Her
you.
experience, thanks for being here. Okay.
Thank you, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Public comment, no, it's not public comment, but public comment, now it's time. Let's see here, hearing no public comment, we'll go to the conservation board of John.
Okay, good morning. My name is John Schwab, I'm the director for Page County Conservation. And I emailed out kind of a breakdown sheet on why we did the certain changes in areas.
Do you have another copy of that, John? Because I didn't get that. No, okay.
I'm having this.
Can we,
I don't know.
okay, sorry.
No problem.
I don't have one either, is that like a copy machine or just a printer? This right here, is that a copy
I
machine?
think I emailed it Friday.
Yeah,
I think I had it
Friday, yeah. It just didn't print out, but I did look over it.
Melissa, is this a copy or is
This
this a
is.
printer?
I think, yeah.
What is?
I think that's,
Oh, okay, that'd be great.
okay.
And it's the same numbers that are reflected on
It
the
just,
big budget sheets. It just kind of tells you.
I just wasn't sure who was who when I was looking at it.
Oh, no problem.
That's good to have. Twenty, 22. Because I was looking at all of that, I remembered all of them.
It's starting to come back.
Conservation, right there.
All things.
Okay.
Thank you. You want this back down? One copy. Did you just do one copy?
How many sheets of paper is it?
2.
Well, how many?
Yeah, the first one's front back, or they're both front back.
Yes, it's
Oh.
4. Can you read over this
No,
part?
that's all right, go ahead. We'll explain it. Go through it.
Okay. So this is John.
Okay, Do you want me just to go line by line or just hit the ones we changed, or how would you guys like to do it?
Well, definitely go with the ones we've changed.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We can go over all of them I went out last year.
Okay, we'll just start on the first one if everyone's ready.
Yep.
Which is the salary for regular employees, deputy salary, that's my salary, the first line. Both the first line, we're asking for mine, 6% increase. Which would bring it up from 46,350 to 49,130. And then also the second line, it has secretary, that's actually Charlie, our other full-time employee. It was a 6% for her, but there was some hour differences for the whole year, so it actually only comes out to 5.59%. That'd be an increase from 51,199 to 54,060. So those are for our two full-time employees. Then our next line down is for our combined seasonals that we hire every year. For the seasonals, our plan this year was to increase them to 35 hours a week and also bump up our starting pay, which did increase the total asking from 50,490 up to 61,095. Doing it this way, it is an increase just because of the hours and then the pay rate. We'd like to start them out at $12.25 an hour, which is actually on average for what the position is when I check with other counties in our district. And doing it that way, we're actually able to hire less people. So in the long run, it should save us a little bit. With less people, less chance for someone getting injured or anything. Then we also have included in that line, we've got two people from last year, so they're going to come back this year. But with them, they can only work Mondays and Tuesdays. But they do have a lot of experience, so bringing them back is also included in that 61,000 line item. Then the next one, the fourth line item, that's for Mike, our permanent part-time. He stays with us all year, just his hours get decreased in the winter. And we're looking at bumping his pay up to $14 an hour, which would increase it from 19,500 to 20,328. So that goes in for all the salaries. Then the next one's FICA and IFRS. Those are just figured off the percentage on how much we're planning to pay out for the year. So both of those went up, obviously. Then the bottom one on that page is Charlie's insurance. She's the only one in our department that takes insurance. And insurance rates did go up on both the dental and the health. Mileage and expenses for our board members, we left that the same. The next one down, office supplies, we actually reduced it $1,000. On a lot of our reductions, we just looked over the last 3 years what we've been paying and kind of figured it off of there. So we were able to save some money there, drop that from 4,000 to 3,000. The next two, the 400 and the 600, are clothing allowances. The 400 is mine, and then the 600 is Charlie's, and all the seasonals are also figured in that one as well. Photocopy services, we kept the same. We're at a good number for that. Our postage and mailing, we dropped from 500 to 300, just because we do a lot of stuff through email now, so we're not actually physically mailing out a lot of things. Telephone services, we left the same. The 1,500 for meals, lodges, training, that's if I go to ICAP or any sort of training that comes out of that line item. We left that one. The final one on that page, the dues and memberships, our dues haven't gone up. That's for like our County Conservation Directors Association. So then that brings, that I believe is the end of the administrative section. We are asking overall in that section for an increase from 221,377, increasing it to 241,729. It's about a 9% increase. A lot of that's just comes from wages. So our next section, this is maintenance and operations of the parks. The first two, fuels and custodial supplies, we left alone. The third one, our motor vehicle maintenance, this is for the larger repairs we might have. We've got pretty dependable vehicles right now. So we actually dropped that one by $2,500. Then the next one, stationary and office supplies, we left alone. The next one, our minor equipment and hand tools, this is the tools we use throughout the year. We're pretty set on that, I feel right now, so we dropped that by $2,400, which is a decrease of about 32%. Natural gas, we've left the same. We keep getting told that it's gonna go up, but I think we're still sitting good on those numbers.
It looks like everything on the next page is all the same, John, so.
Correct, yep.
That natural gas, this is used $1,600, budget $900. On the year 21-22, the year previous year, but the other years are all lower.
That was actually, that year we had someone came in and right after we refilled our tank, they came and cut all the copper off of our tank
Oh,
computers,
so
lost that
that's
entire tank.
Oh, wow.
That was a friendly.
Bad deal.
Yeah, the next page doesn't change, and that's pretty much the utilities for the parks. We're still pretty much on par for that. We didn't see any reason to raise or lower those. So the next page, it starts with water use of the invest property, not just water usage out of our office. Then the $15,000 for operating construction equipment meters, those are for large repairs, like if we have a bathroom that blows out or anything crazy. So that one is a very tricky line item because we never know what's going to happen. So we just kind of left it alone for now. Real estate and property insurance, we were actually low this past year. We only budgeted 5,400 and it was almost 6,100. So we bumped that number up. To cover that, our auto insurance, especially with us getting rid of the Jeep and trading it in for one of the sheriff's trucks, it actually dropped our auto insurance. So we took $200 off that line item. Then sanitation services, we normally budgeted 15,000. We bumped it up last year because of the installation of the holding tank at RAP. We didn't know how much that was going to cost. It didn't cost as much as we thought it would to service it, so we actually knocked that down by 2,000 more. The motor vehicle line, which was at $12,000, that's for actually purchasing new vehicles. Like I said, we're good on vehicles, so we knocked that down 7,000, so we knocked it down to 5,000. Just trying to trim up because we would have no reason to use that much money.
On that, so you traded the Jeep for the sheriff's pickup, or how did that?
When we were getting the sheriff's pickup, to replace our brown truck that's dying, we also looked at, we had 2 Jeeps. The only reason we had bought 2 Jeeps was because we had got an amazing deal on it. And this was before I started. So it was a Jeep with very low mileage that we were using. So we just kind of gave it to the county. So because we weren't using it, hopefully someone else would use it. See, I think, I don't know how it worked on the books, but I think it was just we did a swap, yeah. And then for Pierce Creek's gun range, that 1,500, that was actually more of a placeholder, because whatever money the gun range brings in, we turn around and reinvest it back into the gun range. So they just had that as a placeholder. We didn't need a placeholder for $1,500, so so that knocked us off $1,400 there. So for maintenance and operations, we actually decreased our asking budget overall by about $14,600. The next page, the permanent landscaping, these are for the specific improvements in the parks. We've kept the $35,500 that we usually have. We just move around the numbers to where we're going to work on that year. So that didn't go up or down any overall. We moved the numbers around between the different parks. And then for the expendable trust, the 3,000, every year the county puts $3,000 into our reserve conservation account. We are asking for that again if possible. So overall for the budget, the expenditure budget, we're asking for about a 1.5% increase. That'll increase it from, if you include the 3,000 for the reserve fund, $381,727. And we're asking it to be increased to $387,479. Are any questions on that expenditure portion?
Go ahead.
Okay, then, the next will go into projected revenues. The fuel tax and the boat certification tax fees, which are on the bottom of the page. We don't have any control over that, so we just leave those numbers alone. Sometimes we'll get, a halfway decent amount when we post that number, sometimes we won't. This year has been incredibly light. The next page are projected revenues for the individual campgrounds. Nottoway, we're leaving alone. It brings in about $10,000, a little more than $10,000 a year. It fluctuates at times. Remember on these around about 2019 to the 2021 area, a lot of those numbers are from COVID because our parks were flooded during COVID. Pierce Creek, we're actually looking at the numbers, we're actually increasing our revenue projections from 7,500 to 9,000. Pioneer Park, we're keeping the same. Rat Park, we're also increasing from 7,200 in projected revenues to 9,000. Then the miscellaneous fund that's later on, we usually have for 1,000, but we dropped down to 500. That's where people rent our shelters. We've got a billboard by the office that we rent out. Those numbers have just kind of been steadily going down. And then the 3,000 we had for miscellaneous Rat Park, that is for a portion of the park we actually lease out for farming. So we've gotten a pretty good return for crops every year, so we bumped that number up from 3,000 to 3,500. The next one, our gun range, we had projected incomes of $1,500. We haven't been seeing those numbers, so we dropped that down to 1,000. And then the 3,000 for the trust is on there also. So revenue wise, we're projecting about an increase of about $2,800. Unfortunately, that number's not going to get much higher unless we expand our campgrounds.
Back on page 1, John, the boat certificates, you get a portion of the boat registrations, is that
Correct.
correct?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, the fuel tax and the boat registration will get a portion of
I
those.
think that's Nuisance Island, thank you.
And then other than that, so those are projected revenues, we're hopefully about $2,800 increase. And our last one is the refund. We have heard that I think REAP did get extended again. I think we're good until about 2025. We'll still be able to count on this week. We budget that it brings in a safe estimate of roughly $9,000 a year. It has been up the last couple of years. It's been about 11,000, 10,000. So that is what we budgeted to get from REAP. And then every year we just put that we can budget out to about $11,000 for a refund. If we go over that, we come in and ask for it. I think our refund right now, we're still sitting, I want to say a little above 20,000. We still got a little bit of money there too.
And what are you using that for?
The REAP goes for kind of any big projects. Sometimes we can use it to match grants that we get, but it's really dependent because like the REAP grant, we can't use the REAP funds to match it, so we can. We've also used it, unfortunately, if we have, a major catastrophe in one of the parks, and something we can always fall back to that REAP.
It fits the qualifications.
Correct, yep. And that covers about everything. So yeah, for our budget with the the increases in the pay and everything, and then what we've decreased. I think we're looking at about a $6,000 increase overall, about 1.7%.
And how long have you been here?
This will be in 2019 when I got hired.
That's me.
On the, like the office supplies, it's about 3,600. You went in 3,000, is it? You've been using about 4,000 of that. Their reason for that on number line is that.
The second page, second line.
Second page, second line, yeah. I'm just curious on that, how you plan on using a lot less.
That one, a lot of them on that is like our camping envelopes, getting those printed out. We switched to a different company, so they're a little bit cheaper. It's, yeah,
You perceive, you see it being cheaper in the future.
correct, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's just right now, we've only used 577, because we don't do that big.
now this year you're way okay, you're under, I see.
Yeah, we don't do that big order until spring. So that number will significantly go up once we reopen books.
Okay. Well. Any other questions? Todd? Anything or?
No,
All makes sense?
you know,
Well, we get to the. I guess the big question is, we get to the end and we look at all the wages and everything, that's really the big question, so.
So you're good with that thing about wages? You're kind of like,
We might, I don't know. I think so. It looks, I don't see any other questions here, really. I'm excited what we do with that.
I guess my comment would be, you're trying to get your salary up some,
Correct.
but Charlie's pretty far up there. And I can understand you being new and having a lower salary. So I'm wondering about maybe just, Charlie's going to the 3.85. Don't be mad at me, Charlie.
And I know those two, like, my board, recommends the salary upgrade for me.
Right.
And we've just always
Right.
kept me and Charlie the same.
I know.
increase Percentage, yeah.
Yeah,
The other directors in Taylor County, and there, what are they making?
I think in our district, I'm not exactly sure about Fremont. I'm still the lowest paid director, but obviously they've got more years in the
Experience.
position than I do too. And I know my board looked at. It's really difficult to kind of compare that because, there might be a director with 10 years in service, but those making more than me, but they only have one park to take care of. So it's really tough. I know they looked at, kind of equivalent responsibility land-wise with the size, and also, they kind of went off the budget. I'm not sure we've all completely with that. I'm still towards the bottom of the scale, but, I'm still pretty new.
Okay. I suppose, we'll just as we go through this, just come back and double check them at the end. I think the rest of it all looks good, John.
Okay,
You did a good job.
all right, appreciate it.
Yep. Yeah, you can write a whole, I got a mechanical pencil if you want that. You want one?
what?
A mechanical pencil with sharper, do you want one?
We don't have that.
Sometimes I'm erasing all the things.
I can say it works, yeah. That's the main thing, yes.
But you're good with everything here. You're just gonna read it.
Yeah, I think so, most likely. That's what I feel. What do you guys think?
So are you?
Yeah, I'd like the
We'll come back.
Just, so can we come back and look at salaries?
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll come back.
IoT or fire department. Just so I know,
probably by department, I would say.
so do I need to have every department come back in? But
Probably.
We can just discuss it at the end.
Yeah,
okay, so you just want me to put like on Wednesday, salary discussion for all the firms, I'm just trying to figure out how to get this.
probably so.
Just if we get that far Wednesday
Yeah.
morning, I guess we'll know, yeah. We can,
Or you,
guess we need to do it by tomorrow morning, on agenda for Wednesday morning,
Or we can, you know, if we have time today, we can still.
talk about it a little bit.
so as of right now, we're leaving Charlie at 6 or you're.
I don't know. I need to go through all the rest of these people and not think about the whole thing, I think. Maybe we'll wait till the end of the day and
Okay,
talk about it, maybe.
I just want to get it right.
Right. I think. Okay, well, next up, we have Richard. Morning.
Just want me to start going through this.
Let me find it, hang on, I told you to come up there, I'm not ready.
I would say you don't need to touch on too much on the ones that are the same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can look at that, I'm gonna find
Yeah.
my public health, there it is. Okay, I'm ready, you ready, Don?
Hang on.
You gotta find, I know, it's tricky,
You can, like,
need them with labels. Okay.
This one was confusing to me because I don't know who's who and who's what, so.
Yep, I'll go through it.
Before we get started with this, just something, when you're here, I thought about this, Todd brought it up in the last meeting. We went up to our ISAC training, last week, whatever it was. And they had Christie Hartsberger, the attorney, talk about situations of boards and appointing board appointments, other people. And the question came up, and I went and asked her afterwards, the board, lots of counties have supervisors on their board of health, and lots of them have members, and they can vote. I asked if they vote on the budget with a conflict of interest, she said absolutely not, they can participate, vote. I asked her like three different ways, and she said, no, it's definitely okay, so. That was the answer we got up there, I got from the attorney, and other boards of health, and that, so I think we've got that taken care of. But Todd should be fine to vote, and there should be no conflict of interest on that, before I forget to say it, so. Anyway, now I guess if you want to go through the budget, go ahead.
Okay, so the first section is gonna be for our tobacco coordinator. So all of that is in regards to our tobacco coordinator.
Right.
And so the 39,520 for FY 24 is, will reflect an increase of $1 increase in wage for that individual. So it averages just a small amount increase, from FY 23. And then you have obviously the FTEs, the FICA, the IFRS, all that is just a very small increase. And then you get down to the dental and health coverage. In April, March, April of last year, all the staff vacated.
Except Carmen.
Correct, except for, and so, that's the other part we're gonna talk about is probably the cost of turnover, is where we couldn't predict when people coming in, who, all those staff took single coverage. And the staff who came on took all family coverage, so that represented a very high increase. So that's where the majority of our increase you're gonna see today, so. Last year was budgeted for health insurance for the individual was 9,984, and 19,007. So that's a very substantial increase with that.
So why the small increase in pay?
Because we want to present a budget that's very realistic and doable.
Okay.
Yeah. So then you see that, so I want to explain the decrease in regards to tobacco office supplies. Our tobacco grant also has a match associated with it. And so anything to do with mileage, office supplies, copies, our comp insurance, all those type of things like that get applied not to the grant, but it gets applied to the match. And so we have 6 counties and it's $15,000 that we have to match with that tobacco fund. So A lot of those that you're gonna see, like with copies and supplies and all those type of things like that, in this first budget line items, including the mileage, is all matched. So we cover the 100% cost of that. And so, and you'll see on the revenue how much we get for that grant minus the match. So that would be an increase of 77,502 from for FY 24-23 was 71,094, which is a 9% increase. Anybody else with that? Okay. And then we get down below here is where our homemaker services, and then it also includes our part-time individuals as well. So if you saw the first line item there, it decreased to 41,143 is because the staff previous was allocated into that full-time category, which now is just our homemakers' wages, and it got dropped down to still part-time temp section. And what that is gonna be is we have a nurse on staff that is actually just considered an outreach specialist right now. And she has an RN, a BSN and an RN certification. And we would obviously like to have an RN on staff. And so currently her wage is $15 an hour, and we're proposing increasing her to $20 an hour, reflective of her degree and certifications of being an RN, which increases that budget 326.7%.
Okay, I have a question.
And she's also going to increase from 20 hours to 28 hours.
How many hours?
From 20 to 28. So it still keeps her as considered part-time and not eligible for insurance.
Okay. On the homemaker,
Yes,
are you projecting an increase in pay?
and no, not this year.
Why?
There was an increase last year
She
and
only got 3% last year, where everybody else got a huge increase,
correct,
which was kind of a slap in the face because she's been there the longest.
right. And the reason for that is because historically, it's historically we lose on that program. So it keeps it manageable. It
But
keeps it
you're-
to where it's fiscally responsible to continue that.
But you're providing a service, so there must be some cost, even though it's not reimbursable. And it maybe isn't fair to her since she got, last year, there were several things that bothered me about the budget. And one of them was that one, where she's been here the longest and
Mhm.
stayed when no one else had.
Right.
Everybody else got huge raises and she got a 3%. This year, you're not projecting an increase at all for her?
No, not this year.
I don't
What are
think
the other
that's fair.
salary projections? That's what's fun. Also, yeah,
So that'd be the only two salary projections would be for our tobacco coordinator for a dollar increase, and for our nurse, which would be an increase from $15 to $20 an hour.
So you're slapping her in the face again.
Basically, I wouldn't think I'd look at.
I would look at it that way.
It's either maintain that program or cut it completely.
are you asking for a 13% increase? We've got there yet.
So for Candace, it's 5.55%.
And she is which?
She is the tobacco coordinator, and then
It's a 5.5,
5.55.
okay,
And then for Jara, the part-time person, it's going from $15 to $20 an hour, which is a 33.33% increase.
so this just is not, I'm sorry, John, but this just does not bode well with me, because I think last year, even, you're providing a service to the people of Page County with the homemaker.
No, and I'd be all in favor of providing permanent wage. That's not an issue whatsoever.
And I think
But it's
she,
gonna come down to where you just have to approve the budget as is then, because there's not much room. I'll explain this as I go. Because if that's the case, I'm totally fine with that.
well, I just feel like last year, she really got slapped in the face
Right.
with the huge raises that everybody else got. And with her
And that was before
longevity.
That was before my time, so I have.
I know, but with her longevity.
Right.
You know, that wasn't even a fair thing, and now this year not even proposing an increase. I don't think that's fair at all. So I think we definitely need to visit that, one.
Visit these salaries, yeah.
Visit that one, yeah, and maybe the nurse too, I don't know. Okay, well, anyway, go ahead.
Then we still have the two contract nurses on board to provide like to assist with influence, like influenza clinics, the COVID clinics, things like that.
Is that under the,
That's
Oh, yeah.
the same line as the RN?
correct, yes.
Okay.
Yep,
And
still
she-
part-time.
So it's all on the, so all those people would
That's
be
all of those people included in that, correct?
up to 28
And
hours.
I did, and what I figured for both of those, which historically it might not be that high, but I figured for each individual, 7 hours per week. So that's what, I look back at from May to current, looking at all, how many hours they put in, and it's roughly about 7 hours per week, so. With some weeks not representing, some weeks maybe a little bit more, so. And so, and what my goal is to provide more of a clear avenue for immunizations to start occurring with children. And the two contract nurses have expressed no desire to do those services for the children, so that's why we really want our RN on staff to provide those. Currently, right now, we do not provide any immunizations to children, so.
Okay, the first line where it's 41,143, last year, it was budgeted at 70,661. Why was that, do you know?
There was 2 staff members that's allocated into that,
Oh, there were 2 last year,
correct,
or this current year, I guess.
yeah, yes.
Okay,
We have one right now.
What's
You have one staff member now for that.
For the part-time position,
Well, I mean,
no, for this,
oh, yeah,
line one.
that's fine.
Homemaker.
Well, that's fine. Right.
Yep,
So there was 2 requirements last year?
yes, it was Rhonda and Amy, I believe.
No, not for this first line,
Yeah, I think.
where you got.
I'm
Where,
just-
where you, yeah, this doesn't make sense, the homemaker being in that line. And then have Rhonda and Amy, because they weren't homemakers.
She did part-time homemaker, yes, she did.
Rhonda,
One of them did, yes, I'm not
Or
sure
Amy.
which one.
okay,
I think it might have been Amy.
okay,
So that's just showing her salary by itself then?
Correct. Yeah.
That's
okay.
Everything else got moved down to part-time.
Okay.
Line item.
Got that word in there, okay.
So actually, if you wanted to increase her salary now for the rest of the year, you could do that.
Correct, which would change the amount that the county would have to supplant into there.
Because you're looking already at,
the county contribution this year going from 137, 145 last year to 161.
Yes, it's a huge increase.
Just with what you currently have. That wouldn't include anything for Carmen.
Hey, good with that?
Yeah, let's see here. So we're down to, I forget what line you left off.
And then if you look past the 43,520 for the 10th and part-time, then you got the bike and the IPers and all that, and
Right.
it doesn't represent a whole huge increase with those. And so it brings that total budget to, from last year was from FY 23 is 125,739 to now is 118,937. So there is a slight decrease in that overall budget right there. And that's based with the projections and numbers of homemaker services that we are providing. Then moving down to the administration portion of it, it was an increase from last year, FY 23 was 55,124. I was hired at 62,750. That's a 13% increase.
You were hired at 62,754,
Yes,
so you're not asking for an increase?
no,
So the Jessica got like what increase did she get last year though on that? It
It was
was
like 9%, wasn't
9%
it?
and then it jumped another 13% with when they hired her. The Lord chose to do that. So in a matter of,
and that's how you're going to see the budget discrepancies, and just because some of those salaries, like
Changed.
there was a budget, but then.
They went off
the
on the
salaries,
board and-
If you put budget for salaries.
Right,
So,
right,
that impacts. what you first.
and that's reflective of that concept of turnover. So.
no,
And then you got the bike, the IFRS, all that's gonna be reflective of my current salary. And then I also elected into family health coverage, including dental, and that's that additional $10,000 increase from, a little less than $10,000 increase from FY 23. And like I said, that's where the biggest portion is coming from right there.
The stationary, the supplies, whatever line, okay, never mind,
Yeah, it-
never
it
mind,
decreased
it's going down.
substantially,
Yeah, I was looking at the 2,500 versus
Pretty
what's
much the only
been
thing we had to
spent,
buy is copy
So,
paper. Yeah, you know, so.
yeah.
And all that copy paper purchases matched for the tobacco grant meeting as well. Okay, for mileage, all that, I'm just gonna talk about the stuff that I left the same, the telephone, all that stuff comes through the administration, budget. The only increase you're gonna see is the, line item for dues and memberships, because Iowa Public Health Association membership is increasing $50 next year, so I did increase that $50. So that's representative of FY 23 was 96,502, increased to 111,306, 15.34% increase. And so this is what I'll also explain this, is that, you know, as we get to the revenue portion of it, we work with several grants. And how our grants are set up, we have to have one FTE person assigned to the tobacco grant, so they just work on that grant. And then we have Carmen, who is full-time homemaker. She does no other services for us other than blood pressure clinics, which is also part of how it's built into that homemaker grant. And so it leaves myself and one part-time staff to fulfill all the other grants and do all the work on it. Because last year we returned something like $46,000 in grant money. And my goal this year is not to return any of those grant money whatsoever. So it might not be reflected on here on the far as revenue, but we returned 46,000 last year. So, and like I said, my goal this year coming in is not to return any of that. And we're on track for the local public health grant, not to return any of it. And it's looking about $12,400 for the tobacco grant. That's because we had a staff member who went out 12 weeks. And someone had to cover her homemaker duties. So, and there's probably no way we're gonna make that up, unfortunately, so some of that will get returned this year. And we also,
Where are we at in the percentage of the year accomplished in the budget? You know what that is right now? I'm just looking at least 65% of the year to date.
Basically, well, these would have been written in the end of January, so you wouldn't quite have the whole month in there, but you should be basically at 7/12 of the year.
What would that be? Let's see, 7 divided by 12. 58% still work ahead.
But this would probably actually reflect into the year.
Be a little.
We would have had the second half. So it would be a little under like 53-ish.
Okay. Just trying to see where we are as we look at all these things.
So what's the opioid grant? Is this a new one?
It's new, yeah,
Okay.
About 54.
okay.
and with the opioid grant, it's designed for over 18-year time frame, but they just basically paid us out. I think they have one more payment to make of about 15,000. Like, actually, I think it's a little close to $16,000. And we haven't received that one yet, but we've got the majority of it. And what I'm gonna do each year so that we can have some longevity with that grant, so we just don't spend it all in 1 year or like that. And then no talk about opioids and no services for opiate, the epidemic is just kind of budget that each year moving forward throughout, you know, hopefully get it to the 18 years. So we always have some funds to work with the opiates, so. So if you go down clear to the public health totals, is if you remove, and correct me if my numbers aren't right here, if you remove the cost of which is still a liability on the books, I understand that, but if you remove the cost of the dental from myself and from tobacco coordinator and the health coverage for families from tobacco and it's a 2.4% increase. But if you add that back there, it's 9.22%.
The lines of the administration total you're talking about?
Yep, administration total. Which is still reflected as a debt to to the budget, I understand that. But the budget itself is a 2.4% increase with the net dental and health coverage included in that.
I'm still stuck on this before we leave this budget. I think we need to still address this inadequate increase for Carmen. I think she should at least receive the 3.85.
Which I said I'm totally okay with, but just with the understanding that that's gonna even continue to show that that homemaker is not gonna.
And you can't always break even, Richard. I mean, the auditor's office is totally administrative and doesn't take in any
Which
revenue.
I understand that, but
Yeah.
right now, we're currently at $6,000 in the hole every month, providing that. Exponentially, if you take that times 12, it's costing quite a bit, which I really do not want to cut that program,
Right.
because it provides that one.
It provides a very needed
It does,
service
but
for people.
I just want to give you that, be transparent, give you that information of that's what's going to cost.
I understand that, but as long as you're providing the service, I just can't see that we penalize the employee who's
Right.
providing the service.
Right, I mean, I don't need you to comment on this in here, but two, I mean, like, if there's not personnel issues or anything going on.
And there's not- no.
I mean, I feel like it's hard to hold one person. I mean, we don't hold anybody else just because of,
Right,
Not enough revenue,
yeah,
when they're providing the service, yes.
and that's the only reason why it's
Yes.
both no, because of that fact.
Yes.
We're at that, so.
I just don't feel that is
No,
a
I
fair,
think
a
that
fair
she does
thing to
great
do.
job. Yeah, she does a great job, and if you guys
Um,
are willing to add that into there. then-
Where did you find the money? Where did the board find the money to raise your salary and other salary? Where did they find that money?
I think the money was always in there. We reduced other areas like the station area was out of control. All those type of things like that. And then always looking for additional grants that aren't even listed here, moving forward and things like that. So the money was there. It just wasn't allocated into the right line items.
So is Carmen the,
It's 41,000. Yeah, there's 143.
what is that per hour?
Right now, she's like, that's $19.83 maybe. Not quite 20.
I think has she been here like 14 or 15 years, 13 years?
Yep. Yeah, like I said, I'm good with
Yeah.
that. The only reason I did not is because
that
I
was-
just know the reality of where that program is at.
That was one thing that definitely stuck out to me last year at budget time was, you're giving all these other ones, these huge raises and then, she got stuck with that. So I
Well,
just,
the board did it. You didn't.
no, not you. I don't mean you. I mean, yeah.
The
Yeah.
board did that. That's before you were here.
Yeah. So I just think that was a wrong thing to do and I think it needs to be made up somehow or other. So,
I just,
you said just that you're 85.
but
Like to see that moved for you.
I'd like to see it moved at least to the 3.85%.
kind of do whatever we do for,
Everybody else,
yeah,
yes.
whatever that number is.
And I will say this, depending on what comes down, every time we add a grant to public health, it takes people to do the work for
Right.
us down. And it gets really hard at 1.5 staff members to do that. We're almost to our cap of how many grants we can take. So, we're not seeing a whole lot of increase next year I'm gonna be very selective on what grants we do take. Because 40% of my time is what I kind of did my own time study. 40 to 45% of my time is on administrative stuff, which is not recoupable for being here.
Right.
Mhm.
So.
And I think as department heads, we all kind of, department heads, elected officials, everybody faces that, yeah.
So you used to have, how many full-time did you have? You had
1.5. Well, if you count Carmen, we have Carmen, Candace, and then myself, 3.
And so what was
But before you had
Had
like
what?
3 or 4, 3, 4.
it? So the
including you
budget's
last
going
time.
up. How much overall? You're down, you cut this many people and it's still going up. Basically, and that's all.
Well, like I said, that's the cost of that turnover. All those staff at single coverage, and you're adding $10,000.
The insurance. And
$20,000 increase, that's where that's going up at.
but that
So
would
the
be
cost of turnover.
2.5 more people, would have.
What's that?
20,000 wouldn't pay.
No,
You can have more full-time people or part-time.
Yeah, that's kind of the quandary we're in right now, is the fact that we have, take staff to do the work. But then you also run the risk of not doing justice to all those grants and then returning some of those funds or having unspent funds with those grants. Because
So-
it's not enough people.
if you're getting, if you would get another grant, could another part-time person
Do
be
grant.
hired for the amount of that grant?
So it'd be really hard for us to do that because oftentimes the grant, I'll just use an arbitrary number, say grant's 25,000.
Mhm.
You can hire a part-time person.
But you gotta pay for the services in that grant.
Exactly right, yeah. So it wouldn't make much sense. You'd have to just use what you have with the people that are there, so.
It would take that, line to 42,724. If they get from the 54 at the 3
Did it take it to 42, what?
42,724.
724, okay.
Um, So. So the way you sit right now, staff, it doesn't sound like you'd like to have more help, but you're good there, or what's the?
Well, if you're asking my opinion, I always reflect back to our county health ranking, because, data is what drives decision making. I'm a huge data guy. If we're sitting at 66 out of 99 counties for health and healthy outcomes, if we want to improve that, and if we want to take on initiatives to improve the overall health of Page County and remove barriers, it's going to take people, it's going to take funding to do that. We just have to ask ourselves, were we okay with it? Are we okay with 6 out of 99? And if that's the case, then it'll stay and continue that path. We have a lot of wonderful people providing services in this county through family health services, through mental health services, through the 2 hospitals we have. And sometimes that's still just not enough, So, because I know it's really hard to throw dollars at sometimes that's something that might not get the numbers you want. But, we talk about that as far as the homemaker program is, we have vulnerable populations, especially in rural populations. And this is not an issue that's not faced with other counties in rural areas. We have depopulation going on at a staggering rate right now. And once depopulation starts to happen, people start funding less programs. And so how do we fund those programs, and how do we keep the hard to reach, the needy, the most vulnerable populations safe and with services,
So Melissa, the county actually funds 161,000 of it out of general base.
Yeah,
Correct.
so then we'll just take based on.
But is there a reason it couldn't go up a little more to?
You guys can choose to increase that. Whatever, I mean, if you want to provide more services or anything,
Then we could do that.
it's up to the board to provide it. It's just, 2 things with that. Once you provide it to them, they can use it for whatever they wish. So, I mean, you can set wages and things like that, but if you provide 180,000 and then they choose to change all the salaries and give 2% raises, that is at their discretion.
Right.
So you're funding the source for them.
And that's what happened, that's kind of what they did last
And
year.
that's kind of
Right.
why in the past the board has held that lower, just because we had some issues.
Mhm.
Not as much with this administration.
Right,
but
right.
Prior administration, by any means, but prior to that, so,
and
but, I mean, you do have the ability to do that.
I just didn't know why it had been held down, so,
Yeah, and it kind of started, I think, years ago.
we did that, when I was here.
Yes.
Yes, and that's why we did the sub fund, and I wondered about getting rid of the sub fund too, but maybe it's better that way, so.
Yeah, it kind of separates it out so they can kind of see where they're at too, and even though they're losing, it does roll up into the general fund, so it's not that that's a reported thing. It's just kind of, within the general fund, but it's a nice tracking source for Richard and see too,
Where they're going, yeah.
And overall, you're gonna be at 300, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right, go ahead.
a good way to show, Richard's, I would think, a little bit more aware of his grading situation.
Definitely, yeah.
Whereas some of our administrators haven't really maybe had that awareness, and so, for him, then he can really see where, he can see that the revenues are coming in from the expenses. Whereas we've had some that maybe have those.
And that's why we set it up that way to begin with years ago.
And I've lived
So,
in
yeah,
grants for 18 years, so I understand.
you what?
I lived in grants for 18 years, so. I understand.
Yeah,
So Rich has been wonderful at that.
and that's good. And I'm not criticizing you on Carmen. It's just,
Yeah.
I feel like, that was one of the things last
And
year
that's the thing,
when they did the budget. It just isn't fair.
fiscally responsible public health is also.
Yes, very important.
You know, but the thing is, I think there has to be a willingness to let go of past history with public health and
Mhm.
starting fresh with a new mentality. And we could do a lot of great work with public health if funded.
A little bit more, yes, I can understand that, and I, as far as I'm concerned, I would be willing to fund public health more. To hire a different, a part-time person to help administer
Throw me out
other
another
grants.
Well, I'm looking at though, it's going back to like 19, it wasn't that long ago before. Well, I guess my old book here goes back to 18, 19, so we got totally before COVID. $229,000 total budget, if I look at this right now, we're 333,000, up 100,000.
And you said 19, right?
I went back.
Look
to
at,
my
well,
old
look at
book.
2021 and you've got 353,000 that was spent,
Yeah, that was in the COVID overtime and all kinds of stuff,
yeah.
so it,
We encourage.
yes, it
Yeah,
was during
yeah,
that,
that's true.
it's gonna take it back to
That's
normal.
true.
I mean.
That's why I was trying to go on each side of it. I'm trying to go on each side of COVID, like, it was hemorrhaging money during that
Yeah.
one. So, if you clear back to 18, 19 or 19, 20, it's 229, 245, 19, 20. So right in there, we're at 331, we've jumped 90 to 100,000
Right.
roughly
And it,
on each side, on outside of COVID.
And we're picking up,
And we actually have less people.
exactly, yeah.
So we're spending about 100,000 more, we have less service in a way, maybe, I don't know how to say that right, but
Right, and that was something higher board of supervisors have looked at is. The wage versus basically service.
wage versus service.
And there's been discussions on that too, so. They're kind of looking, I mean, I just didn't put it away, kind of for lack of better terminology, you get to see what you're getting your bang for your buck.
Yeah,
You know
well,
what I mean?
and that's what.
We're spending more and getting less. I mean, we're getting less people, less service, I guess.
Which is counterproductive in the same breath as well, and so. I know that's, it's a Band-Aid that has to be ripped off and said that if we want to protect our most vulnerable populations and our most needy populations and start looking at, how we bridge the gap of transportation issues, how do we get the elderly who is not used to technology, using technology? So as this depopulation continues to occur, that we are set in a good place and that we don't have to basically say, well, here we are, we can fund this amount and we're gonna get the results we're gonna get, and they're not gonna be very.
How much is there that is done by the private sector? Private sector does better than government ever does. How much is done by IV and pharmacies and all the things that we could back out of, maybe, because it isn't needed? Is there anything like that that's done?
So we have,
These vaccine clinics, there's signs everywhere, get flu shot, I mean, you go about it by your mailman. or get one.
so Public Health is the only one that offers the Moderna vaccine, while IV offers Pfizer. And recently, we just through a grant that was allocated to us, is we got funding for an ultra cold freezer, which was $7,490 completely paid for, plus the monitoring system for 5 years. That's how that grant was written. That was $3,000. And so now we're set into an area where now we can get vaccines that require ultra cold freezing and to maintain the integrity of them. So we're moving in that direction, and I want to get
But then with giving shots, it's nice, you got the freezer, but now you gotta hire people to give the shots, you're gonna have the clinics, and it gets expensive if they're.
that's what the 2 contract nurses are for, and also that are in that. When we basically use her license, we have to be reflective of the wage for that.
We're spending, I mean, so we're ignoring COVID on each side of COVID, it's $100,000 more dollars over a couple of years here more we're spending. And I know
And it's
there's
not-
increases with inflation and things
And
like
it's not
that.
gonna get any better, honestly.
And so it's the whole budget, we're trying to find a little here, a little there, what we do, because we have service of public health, we have service of roads that have been ground up, we got some stack with services everywhere.
Right.
I don't want to see that number going out of sight unless we're really getting a lot for our money. I think it's getting to be a huge number for what we're dealing with.
What you invest in is what the return you get on it. I mean, and that's the thing, so is I'm on top of, because I understand what you're saying, and I believe in the data and I believe in the numbers to make it justified. You know, but if we want more grants, which is gonna drive more revenue, there has to be a give and take of more people too. But if we're okay with where we're at, then we'll just keep doing what we're doing with that, you know,
What's actually being done with the tobacco grant? I mean,
as far as.
what are you actually doing?
So we got.
What is the person doing? I mean, years ago, I'm going back 12 years, everything was tobacco, tobacco, tobacco. And in 12 years, we're still getting money. So what are we just trying to prevent the use
Yeah,
of tobacco?
prevention is just strictly that is, our big focus right now is, it's your life, not your life, Jason, that's mental health one, is the, quit line. And then also working on with juveniles for the vaping issue that's going on, is a huge
Okay.
issue right now. And so providing presentations in schools, providing presentations to community events and members, going to the local fairs. So there's just a lot of outreach, that occurs with that. So we get all the products for quit line for free from the state. And so we disseminate all that information out there, pamphlets, giveaways, those type of things like that. So.
Okay, because and I'm looking at the salary for the tobacco grant person, the 5,020, so that seems like a lot.
And Judy, when Candace had hired, she actually came at a higher wage than our average
Okay,
already. I think it was $6. So last year when she came in, she already started higher, like where. Last year, like,
okay,
there was a higher wage already.
Okay.
And
Which is partly to answer Jacob's question, why the budget.
Yes.
And I think it was $1 or $10, so adding another dollar, I'm just.
And unfortunately, we don't live in a world where we're gonna find qualified staff to do it for $15, $16 an hour.
okay.
So any other questions with that?
I just think, are we gonna have him change the Carmen's wage? I think that, and redo the budget.
I think whatever Carmen's wage should reflect at least whatever we do for everybody else.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So can you put that in at a 3.85 and then redo it?
Yeah, I think it's,
Now on,
Melissa already did it. You already-
so
Okay,
I was waiting to see if you wanted others, great bigger.
here's the thing, and I've just never really think about it. I think they're doing a good job. But just looking at the numbers here, last year with the increase, Jessica got 55,124.
so really, I wasn't hired that much more increase of $7,000. I mean,
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to do the math. So if you were there where she was, if the board hadn't went outside of their bounds. If you throw whatever percentage, we both throw 3 or 4%, whatever on that, it'd be 57,246. Is what it would be.
and Inkster.
So you see what I'm saying there? The board created their own, I don't know how that, if you take the salary with the 9% increase last year, it's 55,000.
Yeah.
If you throw the 3.85 on that or whatever we end up at, whatever it is. That's 57, so it's spread, it's just something to think about here, because they jumped us and hired, and they got money. I wanna know if there's any other money in here that's extra hiding around the corner. Because what if we,
you can't reduce it.
what's that?
He said you can't reduce this pay.
I would like to
Not
say,
elected.
I would like to say though that
Uh,
Iowa Code Chapter 137 is that other than appointing in budgets, is the Board of Health has the full capacity to make those decisions with that.
Yeah, we're getting the grand total here, so we might have to. If they presented 55,000 and they spent 62,000. Just like it didn't even matter, well, then they didn't present it very accurate, then they changed their tune, they didn't come back and tell us anything.
Well,
We were
But that's,
told one
that's
thing.
it. They have the bottom,
They
the
can move it
budget,
around.
the budget does the board does the budget with the dollar amount and Board of Health can move it around.
Right, so I'm just,
So I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, they're in their right to do
Yes,
that, but it's
yeah.
not,
Yeah,
now morally and ethically, yeah.
well, that's what
probably
I'm
not.
saying, all the fluff is.
to hire a qualified person too.
It
Right.
costs money.
And that's the cost of turnover.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
So you want to maintain the people that you have in place for things like this.
But usually your cost of timber is actually usually lower because of attrition. So I mean,
Yeah.
usually when you're looking at wages and things like that, when you replace somebody.
Usually start out
They
a
start
lower.
lower.
And
Yeah.
but I think the health field is sometimes a little bit different too.
and that
So,
would be good.
yeah. Because you look at your nurses and the salaries they're getting,
They've all gone up.
based on their degree or whatever.
Exactly,
Qualification, but,
exactly, so,
well, on Carmen's deal, I think it has to be whatever available, because she's been here a long time, so I agree with that. But we're trying to figure out where I don't like $100,000 more.
$18 an hour.
Yes,
and she's going to 20.
it's about 19.
And then she go to 19 and then
Okay.
Jared. $15, $20.
She's going from 15 to 20?
Yeah.
Wow,
And that's just appropriate, I think, wage for the use of her
for
RS.
the RNBSN, yeah.
You and Carmen are full-time and one part-time, that's what
Me,
you're.
Carmen, and Candace are
Three
full-time.
full-time,
Full-time and
one part.
part-time. Yeah. And then 2 contract nurses, we use them when we need them.
And then,
And this person is Rhonda. And Rhonda, had her nursing degree. And she was paid $17.68 and Kane's does not have her nursing degree, she's paid $18 an
currently,
hour currently. And then she
Wanda wasn't here that long. Yeah. So we have to keep,
and who is all getting the health insurance?
It's Carmen takes single coverage and Candace and myself do family.
Your family. Okay.
and who's the other one? Who's the?
Because that does, I mean, insurance goes a long ways.
Sarah?
They're getting,
That's where the more part-time people get hired, the better. Cause you can hire 2 for 1,
Well,
because the benefits cost the same as
I
salary.
look at those outcomes, though, honestly, I mean, it'll just drive those outcomes down. That's the thing, that's where you have to decide is, what do you want those outcomes to look like?
I think we need to have a
Outcomes
sleek
are driven
public
by
health.
financials, they really are.
I think we need a very efficient, sleek public health, in my opinion. I don't think we need to create a giant big city public health with all kinds of expenses. I want to get back to where it was a couple of years ago. I think it needs to be sleek and efficient and
I
find
think,
those things that aren't provided elsewhere and do those.
but I think what you have to look at, Jacob, is that this is a rural county. And we don't have all the assets that the big counties
Or
have.
whatever there
The
isn't
big
provided,
cities
we
have.
have to fill a gap, fine, but I don't want to get this growing and growing, this huge budget item, because this comes out of our general fund, which is where we try to go for everything, so I'm trying to
What's Jared's last name?
corral this in.
Swanson.
And somehow we're 100,000 over what it was a few years ago, and we have less people working here, so. Insurance, inflation be part of that. Anyway, well,
Okay,
I think we understand it, I think I understand it, we'll have to go over. Yes, just look at when it might change whenever we settle on the salary stuff, that's one thing kind of left in the,
basically the one change,
yeah.
do we just need to find the 3.85 to
just
get?
to add the 3.85.
We find the money somewhere else in the budget.
Right,
There's nowhere in this budget we can find it.
no, that's it.
It's to the bones where it needs to be.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You guys want to do the revenue portion or you guys?
Yeah, I get you, go ahead and go, Ben.
So,
I guess I already.
with the immunization grant, we're at $9,100 for FY 24. That's going to remain consistent. Then with, so with homemakers AAA, that's what we do area connections for the homemaker services for people who are not qualified for either Medicaid or 5P. And that's 10,000. Those stay the same. Bioterrorism grant is, we've looked at the budget on that and we feel like it's appropriate. We can increase that from 7,000 FY 23 to 10,000. Just notified a week ago is that the home care aid grant, which is the local public health grant, is decreasing by $1,000. And it'll be that way through 2028.
1,000 each year.
No,
No, just the 1,000.
yeah. So it'd be more like 49,907. So the also decrease in, we have a subcontract with Taylor County and last FY 23 was 2,690. They were not sure if they were going to be awarded that grant. They lost one of their grants for the dental grant. And so that went to Mature and Crescent, but they were awarded in late December, what's now is called Healthy Pregnancy Program, not the maternal health. And so we are now in subcontract with them, and so Jara and the two contract nurses are going to be working that grant. And basically what it is we have to wait for referral to come in, and we do care coordination, we can do home visits, those type of things for post pregnancy and then prenatal visits as well. So we just kind of threw a number there for right now, and hopefully that's going to put an increase in that. Elderly waiver, that's the Medicaid, excuse me, is 9,000. That's pretty consistent. And then we have the tobacco grant, which is 63,079, which was a little slight decrease from last year, but that's gonna be pretty, from my understanding, holding pretty consistent. So
You think that'll continue for a long time?
I think so, yep. Yep, for several years, so.
Jacob, we used to fund everything before the tobacco grant, without the tobacco grant, before tobacco came into being.
Then there's Medicare reimbursement, which is our food clinics. That's gonna stay pretty consistent. And then immunization, private pay, those are for people who they have they have plan C, or the Medicare, and it doesn't cover, the food clinics, and so they have to do a private pay on that. Then we have the opiate settlement, which just kind of zeroed itself out. And then the miscellaneous, which is like DNA testing, and other revenue stream we might get from. So that's the revenues that we have to this point. So there's potential coming on Friday. I have a webinar to talk about disaster prep wise with the University of Iowa, to talk about bringing that into our county. And that's just basically, how do we prepare our elderly population in the event of a disaster like a tornado or, a major flood or COVID again, or another pandemic, and how do they get to safety now? What kind of plans can they put in place? So it's just helping them navigate through that. So there's some reimbursable funds with that. I'll find out more on Friday with that, so. So that's that revenues for public health. I'm looking at one federal grant that we're going to apply for. Federal grants sometimes are hit and miss, and that's the Zero Suicide Grant. So basically just taking on some suicide initiatives within public health, so. And it's a small grant, but it's something,
Necessary.
And there are veterans are doing a suicide prevention thing. If you connect with them some, they're trying to do a startup.
Yep, I'm on the Suicide Coalition for the veteran.
Okay, good. You know about that?
I'm already on that, yep.
Yeah, okay. I went to one of the meetings.
And we're, looking at during blood pressure clinics, which these are reimbursable services, is that doing some experts with individuals, which is screenings, brief interventions, the treatment of people who are struggling with anxiety, depression, alcoholism, substance abuse, is screening those individuals as well, and getting them to the care and help that they need. And I also provide now community health navigation services for those people who really struggle or don't have access to being able to fill out a SNAP application, a Medicaid application, those type of things like that, to where those people continue to go unreached because they don't have the technology or the understanding of that system. So they're able to come in to me and get assistance with that, and that's reimbursable through our local public health center. So.
Do you ever use free clinic? The Nottaway Valley Free Clinic?
We refer people there for medical stuff, yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then that's where they can also get help with certain medications and stuff as well, so.
Yeah, I'm the treasurer. That's.
Gotcha.
They provide a lot of services, so, yeah.
And, I just remember public health is important. It's even still to the point where I'm getting my head wrapped around it. I've found that there is a lot of focus out there, even when it's covered by another entity, it still doesn't have the reach that we just kind of in addition to that.
Right.
So,
I think
Yeah,
you're
I
doing a
wanna
great
fill those
job.
holes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you're doing a great professional job for updates and everything. You're doing a good job.
Yes, thank you.
Just gotta balance everything out.
yep, I get that.
Just gotta fill these holes, the whole road there for it. So.
Yep, I get it. I get it. I do
You,
understand.
you have to look at roads as a different fund.
I know,
So-
but we gotta find money everywhere.
I know, yeah,
Keep it efficient.
yep,
Could always just declare public health as an essential service.
yes.
Everybody wants that. Okay, well, I understand it. Thank you.
You got it.
Tremendous, Mark.
All
Thank you,
right.
Rachel.
Yep,
Thank
thanks,
you.
guys.
EMA. 70.
Okay,
Yes,
gonna take some notes there. Next, are we ready? We gotta find our spot, sorry, you come on up, it'll take us a minute. Thank you, come on up here.
it's 70, it's a further one back.
I got, it takes me a minute to find everything here. So we're going to. Oh, boy.
I didn't know if you had these were final order from the EMA commission.
Oh, thank you. EMA.
Pass out something, from the Iowa code,
Sir,
kind of governs that. Also, I have a copy.
No, thank you.
29C.17 of the Iowa code. Pretty much outlining the budget for the EMA commission. On how it shall be certified and how it shall be funded. Unfortunately, our chairman resigned. It was Chuck Morris. So we are without a chairman at this time. Jill has scheduled a meeting. Currently I'm the 911 chairman and on the EMA commission for code. But what I handed Todd was the bylaw, I don't know if he had those or not, that's the most current thing. And then what I handed everybody else is 29C.17 of the Iowa code, the emergency management and how the budget shall be certified by the commission. Point out subsection 6. Subject to chapter 24, the commission shall adopt, certify, and provide a budget on or before February 28th of each year to the funding entities determined pursuant to subsection 2 of this chapter. The form of the budget shall be as prescribed by the Department of Management. A portion of a tax levied by a county or city to support the local emergency management shall be identified separately on tax statements issued to the county treasurer. Subsection 2, for the purpose consistent with this chapter, the local emergency management agency's approved budget shall, I point out shall, that's not a may, but the shall. It's law that says you have to. Check with Carl for verification on that. Be funded by one or any combination of the following options as determined by the commission. In the past, it hasn't really been that way. Jacob, with you just over 2 years here on the board, and on the, I think you're on the 911 commission. With you coming in, Todd, with you coming in, I want to point that code out to you so that you as a board doesn't make any. And I suggest that you check with
How does the budget get approved? It's approved,
The commission.
commission approved it, so there's no,
it's approved and certified by the commission and sent to you for funding. We checked with Brian Hammond on that.
but there's, he's saying we have to approve whatever they say.
That is something I
Basically.
suggest you check with your legal counsel on.
I'm just curious how this works.
Read the code and understand what
But
it
it needs
says.
to be done by February 28th,
So we do have a meeting.
published and everything else,
Pardon me?
published and everything
The
else.
one thing to remember with that, also though, is then if there's any over expenditures or anything, the board of supervisors does not on us.
No.
So I think
It's kind of give and take on both sides.
It is.
So we check
But
with it.
I want to, since you're all new, about Jacob, a little over 2 years here, and Judy and Todd, I want to point that out to you so that you have a chance to look into that. With that, I don't know if you want to move forward because there's nothing to move forward on, it's up to the commission to set it, basically.
I think I'd like to look at it. Let's go through it. I don't know why we wouldn't see what's going on.
I mean, they still have the levy for it. They do still have the authority to set the overall.
So this is Jill, I haven't met
Yep,
you.
I'm
Jill.
Jill, sorry.
Nice to meet you.
They have the authority to set the what?
The total budget amount.
This money comes from,
I mean, they still budget for it. They're the ones that have to answer to the taxpayers.
No, I understand. Commission is the one that's certified. To them, according to the Iowa, code. The one, my
They still
understanding,
don't get ready to approve it. I mean, they still have to approve the funding for it.
yes, that's what, and if you want to go over that, that's fine, we haven't had a chance to have a meeting yet because
Yeah, that
And
would
on
be
that-
fine.
and
We haven't
this-
had the meeting, this is probably what's going to be.
talk about, we can look at that, maybe that's a suggestion.
Todd,
But Todd will
So
be,
is Todd gonna be the new chair then?
now I,
No, Todd's gonna be, you're
I'm
on,
gonna be, no, I'm not, he's on,
911, the 911 board is a lot simpler than the EMA board.
Yeah, a lot.
Right, but something I think we're working off the agenda for tomorrow night, or whatever, is to go over these boards, because now that Judy's here. We're gonna look at them and make sure Todd's got a bunch of extra boards there, they divide them up. Judy, give all the clearing the ones, and then if there's any to add, there's small over.
And Judy,
So
the
we're
reason
gonna work on it.
I'll give mental health.
Jacob was on 911, with Todd's background in it, I said,
Right.
if we're trying to consolidate how many meetings you go to, because we usually have a
The same
911
night.
prior or after the EMA.
Right.
And that way we've got one person, you're not shuffling everybody around trying to be one meeting at 6 and the other one across the county at 6:30. So that's why with Todd's firefighting background in there,
Good idea.
so long, we thought that would probably be.
I thought we'd look at it, we just, all the same ones that we're clearing, just do them, and if there's any that. Todd had more, I think, than anybody else, but some of them don't meet very often, don't they? Well, I mean, you need to kind of weed through the ones that are hardly ever meet, and the ones that do.
And that's with the EMA, 911, they don't,
It's
well, hopefully.
twice a year.
We don't have to do very often anymore. Usually it's 1 or 2 meetings a year.
Oh my gosh, the E911 meetings years ago, I'm secretary and it's practically every week because the signage and everything else, the companies. Yeah,
So with that, I just wanted to point that out to you guys so that you guys had that, and then you have the opportunity, Jill, I'll have her take over that, because of course she is our director. I think everybody knows Jill Harvey here.
I didn't. forget, but-
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna start.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so looking at the expenditures for the emergency management, I'm 3 months here, so I did not make a lot of changes. We're gonna, most of it is based on what's been done in the past until I can get an idea of what other projects we need to take on and whatnot. So there's not a lot of change. Obviously, the wages have, there's a change with that because we did split the 911 out from the emergency management side, so that decreased that overall wage. Like some of them before me have said, the FICA, the IFRS, I do take family coverage on my insurance and dental, so that's the increase on those. And then if you go to page 2, the motor vehicle maintenance, I just increased about $1,000. That includes the cost of fuel, maintenance to the vehicle. And then we also have a Polaris Ranger that this year we had to get a battery, and there's gonna be some upkeep to that. So I just added a little extra in for that. Our stationery forms, office supplies, we increased that $100 from last year. It is over this prior year, and I can't tell you exactly why. I know I did order some paper and some supplies for the office that I didn't have. The emergency management performance grant, that amount, I am still working on that grant. It just came out that the notice funding will go in here. We just got notice on that maybe a week ago. So we're still working on that. Publications didn't change. The telephone and telegraph, I did increase that just a little bit because I carry a cell phone specific for EMA. That way, if something ever happens on scene, if we have pictures or something, it's the EM phone that's going to that. I'm not comfortable with my personal phone for that. And that also includes the office phone. The copier falls in that, and we do have a hotspot. So if we're on scene and need to have access to internet, we can do that out in the field. Education and training, that was increased. These first couple of years, I will have some additional trainings I'm gonna have to do in the emergency management side, just to catch up on a few things. So we increased that. You do see this current year that it is over, and that would be that additional 2,000 they gave me to help with moving expenses came out of that. If you're, I can answer that question. I don't think, oh, the next page, the radio, and I did put $1,000 in there. I think I have 3, maybe 4 handhelds. I have one that needs a new battery now, and it's like $150, $200 for a radio. And I think I have one at dispatch also that needs a radio that I've got to pick up, or a battery, sorry. So I know I'm gonna have a couple of those that need to be replaced, so we put some funds in there. I don't think anything else. Oh, office equipment, I put 2,000 in there. The laptop that was in there that was using, like with our ID system, our salamander system, does not work anymore. I have a couple of tough books. I found some older laptops. I don't think they're gonna work anymore with the updates and software. So we're gonna have to look at probably getting one in there to help run some of the software and the programs we have. And if not for that, just, so I have something with me in the field that I can take if I can't get those others updated. And back on page 2, the minor equipment and hand tools, I thought I had added $1,000 in there, but it didn't get transferred over. I don't know if it just got missed, if I miswriting it. If we can add that, I'd like to do that. There's nothing in the maintenance in the emergency management vehicle I drive right now. And I've been going out, I've been on a couple scenes where I help with traffic, and I don't have cones, I did find a vest in there in the last accident I was out on. But just some of the basic tools, if I come across somebody and need to be able to help, tire wrench, help change a tire jack. None of that stuff is in there. I don't know if it ever was. If it was, I have no idea where it went. So I did
What did you want, 1,000?
$1,000 in that line if possible. I thought I included in that.
She went out and bought a hitch because the trailer that, the Lowe's Ranger is on.
It doesn't have a hitch. The pickup doesn't have,
It has the receiver, but there's no,
how do you ever pull it?
so
But I really did.
and I even
You
asked,
guys didn't even know it was there, right? Because that's. what-
I did not
it was sitting-
until-
It was sitting over there.
On a trailer?
No, the Polaris.
we
They
have,
didn't-
yeah, the Polaris Ranger and trailer, I didn't know about until Thanksgiving. The gentleman from the VA office, sorry, I forget names, called and said, hey, you have this Polaris, the Ranger's here, it doesn't run, the tires are flat on the trailer. It's like, oh, okay.
We were storing it there and then evidently
So, yeah, but
now we are.
It's
Where is
parked
that,
here.
where is that at now?
Except county roads.
Does it have a trailer it parks inside of? Doesn't he have a cargo trailer or something? Does it go inside that or not?
If there was an enclosed trailer, I got that from the Hall Supplies.
Didn't there used to be a
I
trailer?
thought there was.
There's a public health,
Oh, that's
Is that
right.
public health
That's
trailer?
public health.
they share.
Okay,
I thought there was a trailer. Where's the drone at?
The drone is in my office.
I thought he had a trailer he pulled with that pickup. That's the whole reason he needed a pickup,
Put
really.
the topper on it to be able to use the bed instead of a tile.
For a drone or whatever stuff.
Things that we do that. The Ranger is down at county sheds and one of their outbuildings, the trailer's outside, but for now.
So they just have just a deck, just a little lawnmower type trailer to haul it with?
Yeah, pretty much utility trailer with a drop down gate.
You
drive up
you
on.
need it, you can take it.
Yeah. So. That's kind of where we're sitting with that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Like I said, I didn't change a whole lot, not being here very long. I'm not sure. What we're gonna need, but we can change more.
I think that's pretty much what, Jules said.
Yeah.
On your salary, it's 55,000, is that right? That's
So I was hired at 53, that does include the 3.85% raise.
okay. I think. Any questions on that?
nope.
You guys, Todd, you have any?
Looks good. Thank you.
Looks good.
Okay. And I don't think there was, the only thing different on the revenue, I believe, is we do have a grant for hazard mitigation planning. Or our plan for that, and which we have our first meeting Monday. But that should all be covered, and I did note those in that revenue form.
Good. It looks good.
Huh?
On the 911 budget, do you do that one also or not? Lyle, do you do that one or who does that one? Do we just go over that?
Never done that.
I don't know. It's a tab in here.
Manager director, the E911 budget.
Yeah, that's what I mean, wherever it is. It's a
Well,
lot,
that is not been
it's a lot simpler.
done. Summer did it.
Summer did the 911 budget.
Who's summer?
I do have a couple of questions here, if when you're done there. just real quick.
I have a question. Who's summer?
I think the budget looks good.
Okay. And we'll have our meeting Wednesday night, and we'll get a public hearing set, and then
Okay.
when that's approved, then we'll have to bring it back to you.
And $1,000 for your add that for your tools or whatever. Is that what you guys think or not?
What now?
For the tools and things? this
Yes,
year,
that
have a
definitely
budget
needs to be added.
you have hits and everything. The hitch is gonna cost you $75.
That's like traffic cones or anything like that.
Yeah, those are
That's fine,
automatic.
what you need to have.
Basically, if deputies have them, it's basically something we picked up off the road, take to the sheriff's office, and then through you.
Yeah.
The one.
There you go.
The two.
Yeah, well, I wonder if there's, yeah, I don't know if there's any extra things that have, like, down secondary roads.
290/70,
If they'd have any old.
Page
ones that
2.
you could have, but
minor equipment.
And I know they make some that, will light up to black,
Oh,
which would be.
black
nice
ones,
if you
yeah,
have to set up another
Take a lot
black
less space.
Some of
Yeah.
them, everybody at the brother tries to send me something.
Yes.
They have these little pucks that have lights that go around, lights instead of traffic.
Yeah.
And they say are more visible, well, that's great, but when they get around, they're not,
there are lots of little pieces.
they are.
So,
And I don't want to get too crazy until I know what fire departments have, because I don't,
Yeah,
I
they're gonna kind of
don't believe in
stuff like that.
duplicating. If all of our fire departments have that equipment, I probably don't need to carry it, or if they have an extra set.
Yeah.
Because I'll be responding and using it for them. So if there's
Some real-
something we need, I would like to be able to.
simple, basic things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get by.
We don't need high tech.
Yeah, just something that gets you,
And with the radio, like,
okay,
I still have John's old beep at home, so,
all right, thank you.
I did have a couple questions here.
thank you, Jill.
Thanks.
Fairly open,
But at 2 o'clock, you're gonna discuss approve the special law enforcement.
with Bernie. I guess we've never done that. That I'm aware of, or the special investigations.
There really isn't anything to discuss. I mean, it's cut and dried. Yeah,
Okay. Do I need to be here at 2 o'clock for that, what, any of you?
I wouldn't think so.
No idea what it was, I thought, what is that? We got enough to go over tomorrow morning, so.
Boy, are we gonna cut.
Miles, he's whacked his budget, have you done it?
Well, he's coming for
Hey, if you could set my budget and make it work, go for it.
Hmm,
And it doesn't, guess who 3 you're gonna get late.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
No. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Got it.
you.
Thanks, Lord.
Yep.
Okay.
Who's our 10 o'clock recorder?
Thank you. No, I didn't.
Yeah. Behind the print.
Okay. And then-
Recorder budget now.
All right.
So, thank you for coming in.
Simple. Jill, good job going through it. First time it's gonna be a little.
Yeah.
We'll get through it.
All right, thank you.
Are all the names on here the same except Ruth on your budget?
No, Matney's gone.
Matney's gone. I don't know where Matney is. I don't remember seeing Matney.
All right, Randall.
Yeah,
I think he's focusing on
I
this
have
one.
Hafner, Riddle,
Oh,
Omar, Randall.
Yep.
Stevens.
Yep. And then you should have some real basic in there.
And
Should have
Charles.
3.
But, okay, who's Roops?
Well, that was.
Is that empty?
Matney, But Scott, now we have an opening there.
That's the go.
That's
Okay,
the open. So that'll start off at the bottom.
okay. 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 And who's rural?
Lisa Holmes, there's 3 of them on real basic, and I can't remember who they are. Well, okay, so
I've got. They don't,
you have Lindsay down somewhere, and Charles and me.
yeah, I don't
I'm
have,
under administrative. So you have me, Charles, Lindsay, Hafner, Jason Holmes.
it's
He'll
Jason,
probably
I
fall
don't
under
see
rural.
Jason. Lindsay. Lindsay, Charles, there's Matney, and Matney's gone.
He's gone.
Okay.
Then we
But I don't
have,
have Jason anywhere,
Jason's probably real basic.
but I'm looking at real basic.
He should be in there.
While I'm looking,
Or do they have names under rule basic, or do they just have?
no, I just don't have Jason anywhere.
They bounce anywhere.
So we're missing Jason somewhere.
Jason and Daniel Omar.
Daniel, Omok was
Yep.
here. Yeah, Omok was here. I have Hafner, Riddle, Omok. Randall,
Or some. or-
Stevens.
They have these, but-
No, they should have been, they should all be separate.
Uh,
But the 11, I'm getting over here to 11.
And we switch how many we have from year to year, depending on where rule basic and general are.
Okay,
They tell me what we have in.
but I
fuel
don't,
and
I
all
don't see
that.
Jason anywhere. For a salary.
We lost Jason.
Who lost Jason? Holmes.
No, he's not. No,
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 he's
he's
not.
not.
Oh, okay.
Don't say cut. Cut is not a good word. to
That's
say
not a
right
good
now.
word to say it, budgeting.
It's like,
Where's my slip? You're already done.
I don't know Jason Holmes.
I think we have 3 on rural basic, if I remember. correctly.
Yeah, they're, yes,
But a couple of those you named, I think are on. rural
Lindsay
basic.
Stevens, let's see. Aaron Riddle,
Isn't he here 11,000?
huh? What is it? Do you have,
First one.
do you have Jason?
Jason Becker.
Okay,
Lyle got us sidetracked.
100.05. He doesn't have a
It's all
name.
about Lyle.
No, it's not.
No.
Okay. he
We
doesn't
can
have-
look into that later. if you
He's
have
without a
questions.
name, okay, got him.
Got him?
Yeah, well, he didn't have a name here, so Jason, Josh,
Isn't it?
Riddle, Omok, Randall, Stevens, and Charles. Okay, I guess.
Should be 9 total with me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The empty one is 8.
then
And you're 9.
Administrative.
Okay, gotcha. Thank
All
you.
right.
Well, there's,
2 o'clock, no need for me to be here.
I don't think so.
And then tomorrow. We'll go over what we got. We'll see you then. Thank you.
hey. Got my red pen ready.
All right. Now,
Okay.
Brenda, you ready? Okay. Do the recorder. please.
Order.
Do you have any? Or would you like me to start?
Well, I don't. Is there any big changes or anything?
Really, there's not on the expenditure side, you know, you just got your insurance and salaries. Everything else pretty well stayed the same, office supplies and everything I've left the same.
Your supplies went up 500.
A little bit.
Whoopie-doo. And the dues went up 50, no, 100.
100, well,
100.
yeah.
Is that your
Yes.
ISAC? Okay,
Yes.
basically.
District and state, yes. Otherwise, it's pretty well the same on
I
expenditures.
always said you could just leave the recorder the same and the treasurer the same.
And then, the revenue portion, it usually runs around that 79,000 or so. As you can see, some of it's more, and we, you know, some, we re-estimated some along the way last year. And I don't know, Todd, because you're new, when it talks about the revenues for the recorder's office, I kind of tell you how our fee takes place. Hunting and fishing license, we get 50 cents per license that we sell. Yeah, and then, all of the DNR, like ATVs, snow boats that we register, we get $1.25 for those. And, then it would go on to like a certified copy. Our county portion is $4 for each certified copy that we issue out. We get $4 of that. And, the real estate transfer tax is based on, we get a 0.8275%. It's been that way for years. And that amount comes into play whenever, property sells, like however the total consideration is. We get the 0.8275. And, one of the bigger revenue sources that the recorder's office has is passports. And we get $35 for each one of those.
Are all of your fees, are they set by the state?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. The only one that's not, that we set as a county was the photos. We now take the photos, of course, we've been doing that for several years, and the county set that at $15. And I did some figuring, and
And that's under where?
that is all under the passport fees portion. You see that, yeah, and that's with photos and, each one. So kind of interesting that last year we took like 276 photos. And then, for the number of passports, like 2020, we did 152 new passports. 2021 was 170. And 2022 is 176 passports. And then as of now, we've done 28 so far for the month of January of passports. And those are the new passports that come in. And, of course, we don't get any money if it's a renewal. We only get the new ones for the
You
process.
don't get anything
No.
for renewal.
Just if we take the photo, we
Oh,
get that.
okay.
And that's the $15. So,
Recommend they get a good picture.
yeah, they have to. Yes.
Yeah.
But sometimes.
This one don't look good. Let's take another.
So that's kind of how our revenues or the amount is generated. But yeah, the state set those fees and kind of takes a lot to accumulate any kind of, any revenues with those kind of fees. So.
Right.
We had to sell 850 hunting licenses to get $400, so
Yeah,
that's a lot.
that's a lot.
Well, they can get them so many places now.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
50
right.
cents a piece, you did a lot of
Yeah.
them.
So I don't know if you have any others, questions about that, but I know.
Goodies at 76%.
Yeah.
You're always easy budget, Brenda.
We like it.
Yes, very
Easy budget.
Yes. We don't want to be too difficult.
Nope.
I don't have any questions.
Do you have any, Judy?
I do not. No.
That's pretty simple.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Well, thank
You do a
you.
good job.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Good rest of your budget.
Thanks. It'll be fun.
Yes.
Pretty much. And,
Joey, Cindy.
yeah, just tell us more early if you can.
All right.
You get Carl.
I got this thing on my. Can't get rid of it. That and that.
Oh, his, oh, yeah.
I use my mouse. Oh, okay. I was pushing on it. Duh. All right. Why did I think it was a touch? I don't know.
No, you're
Good.
Sorry. We're not that fancy yet.
I know, and I don't know why, my home isn't that way either, so I don't know. You're good, Jacob, where are they?
Alan brought them in last year, and I like the smell of them. Do you want them?
No, I really.
They've got an orange flavor to them.
Yeah, they're kind of sweet. They're-
Yeah,
I had 1,000 of them last year, but you can't eat too many.
It started with Junker.
John used to have jelly beans.
Oh, no, he upgraded these.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I haven't heard how he's doing since he got home.
I talked to him the other day.
Is he doing okay?
Yeah, he's down, you're on the phone.
Good.
He has some road concerns out there. He sounded pretty good. On those salaries on that deal,
What,
would that be, Connie, Brenda, and,
Connie and Jody?
Jody?
Uh-huh.
Why was that one adjusted a little more?
You what?
Is that a percentage thing, or why was, Jody's adjusted a little bit more? 5.2 or whatever.
She's at 76%, so I don't know that she upped her from last year.
So does it have to be a certain percentage or something?
I don't think she did.
Okay, I don't know.
She just gave it a 3.85.
So that 5.2 is for, is just not right.
Which time?
The
don't have my
third line,
The deputy line?
the one right below that,
Oh,
is that Jody?
I looked at that right.
Yeah,
It says 5.24.
Oh, yeah.
Is there, I should ask, is that, try to adjust it a little more or something, or?
let me see it. Need a calculator.
Where are you at?
It's still on the recorder's budget he's looking at.
I just stick a percentage.
Oh, I was looking at treasurers.
I should ask her.
I think she did increase her percent.
Oh, well,
Her percent. She's at 76, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, she was at 75%, now she's at 76%.
and that equals 3.85, that's what that just came to the math wise, or?
Well-
3.585 in increase.
When you increase the percentage, then it increases the amount.
Yeah, right, so what about Jody's still there?
No, that's Jody that got
Oh.
increased.
Connie's is-
Connie's at 80%.
Oh, okay. So she's just what, 80, that's what.
Jody was at 75, so she's going to 76.
So
So
when you.
when you
break
increase
that
it,
down,
then the 70%, 76% of the salary. Which,
But it may go-
recorder's salary.
Go to 5 she's not, is that just better to do the 5.24 on her?
But that's because she raised her the 1%.
Okay, just jumping
salary.
one and it made 5, okay. It's 1%.
Yeah.
It was the 3.85 plus the percentage.
What's the percentage? Yeah.
75 is typically percentage.
Yeah, she was 75 last year and 76. Yep. This is so much fun. Reminds me of the day. The days. I asked the engineer, I sent the engineer an email. And I asked him to bring a spreadsheet
With names,
with, did you?
employees, I kind of wanted that last.
Well, I asked him for a spreadsheet of all equipment with the date purchased, the hours, the miles,
Yes, you're good, wherever you want that.
Any questions, I did it too, there. And I'm just here to listen. Ooh, why do you do that?
Yeah, I don't.
what did you just do?
Took us there,
Here.
Oh, gosh.
you can take a minute, okay, we understand, I understand.
Yep, I always used to say the audit or the recorders and the treasurer's budgets were two of the easiest ones because you never had to question you guys' budget,
Yeah, we appreciate that.
right, Melissa? Yeah, pretty straightforward. Yep.
Have very few changes on it. One.
How do you have your gals split?
For office,
Uh-huh,
so I have, two of my girls split their salaries by driver's license.
uh-huh.
The one is, 70, 30 motor vehicle driver's license, and one is 30, 70 tax driver's license. Just to make, so basically, there's one full salary in driver's license.
Is that why?
That's why some of them are split, yeah.
Yeah, I like the deputy salary,
Some are in motor vehicles, some are in,
yeah, well, it's like it's higher than the officer salary. Because they're different people mixed together.
Right, it's
Mhm.
just two salaries, motor vehicle, two
Only
salaries,
from
and tax.
multiple places.
mhm.
Yeah, then one salary between the drivers.
The total. Everything for
It all comes out okay. Are they all 80?
No.
No, okay.
Now I was 80, 280, 79, and 77.
They're always great in that.
I did remove my part-time help, I don't know if you noticed that, I took that subject out.
Was that Steve?
Yeah, when a year without part-time help, and we're doing fine, and what it is, which, you know, replacing part-time, and kind of the duties he was doing, our scanning, like, we're also taking on that responsibility, and when they have downtime, one, there's 3 of them that can do it, 2 of them pretty much do the majority, they help check back there, so. No intention of filling, so I did rid of it.
And you're not doing CDLs anymore?
We're not going to do that. The county will stop, Cramer County stop transfers.
Somebody said the other day they had to go to, where did they have to go? Like Fort Dodge or somewhere?
There's Shelby close, so that's Harlan, Council Bluffs, obviously, and then Mason City.
Mason City. They
That's probably.
had to go clear up there to get it done.
Iowa Western is looking at doing it on their satellite site. They've started doing it in Council at the, like, third party. Because that's pretty much what the state, federal government changed that ELDT, you know, about that. But they're making a course required for CDL, so it's kind of just part of it, the drive, so that's why a lot of. It's so expensive for the county to do it anyway, and so it's just kind of part of that program now.
Are you ready for it to go to it?
Huh?
Are you
Yeah.
ready for it to
No,
go?
whatever, yeah, we're just looking at it. That was the part I'm talking about. Where do you think we need to know?
Regardless.
Probably just the changes.
Yeah, 2 changes
Remove the part-time.
for my expenses, I was sure I can give up some revenue, and you're ready. That's
Yeah.
really on my expense, the only thing I did was for part.
Did somebody change on insurance? Oh, no, never mind. Never mind. I'm looking the wrong one.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's it for my
Yeah.
expenses, unless you have questions.
Any questions? Anybody? Go ahead on that.
Okay, so I didn't. But I just want you to be aware of, for a couple reasons, we do need something in the description about supporting Orville. There have a potential of 5th pass. It's gone through the first pass, huge increases for our office. We are pretty much motor vehicles funded through the taxpayer. They're trying to kind of alleviate some of that taxpayer responsibility to provide vehicle services. So I just looked at my numbers from last year, and if passed, has the potential of revenue increasing by $115,000. So we do want those increases. I know, most of us don't like to see increases in expense like fees, but keep in mind, like our title fee right now, we get $2.50 per title. That hasn't changed since 1991. Obviously, everything that we do is everything. So it's adding $10 fee to a lot of the things that we do, so that would go to $12.
And that's back here.
It stays here, yeah, the entire increase that we are pushing legislation for, all of the state and county to help.
Where does all the sales tax go?
So we get $1 of that.
$1.
Yeah, and the rest is state.
So that they're making, that's what,
So, yeah, so that's.
Job.
Yeah,
that's all the money.
yeah, so that, I just said the title fee is gonna go from $2.50 to $12.50, youth tax would go from $1 to $11. And then the security, like when we add. The vehicle, they can go down time over time. And that, we get 60% of that, so we get $6. I just kind of roughly took the amount of those things we did in the last fiscal year and then increased it from very rough estimate that I did about 5 minutes ago.
So that'll be, I guess, the state's not giving anything, the people are just gonna pay more, but we're gonna keep it.
Yeah,
They're not giving, the state's not giving more what they, that's just what we were allowed to keep them.
Our deal, so.
That would be the county's, yeah, keeping that money to help, with tax reform, it does help with that. Because that is one less thing that, you're having funds for tax.
Mhm.
Other things.
So that'll help your budget big time.
But that-
That'll help the county's budget next year.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, and probably more.
If it passes.
If it matters.
They've been working on it for 3 years,
You never know with the legislature.
so that's,
Okay.
We've had a lot of bad checks this year. We've had a lot of bad checks this year. Hmm.
Was that cost?
I should look at your revenue, because we get $30 every time.
Oh, probably not tell that sales tax. Well. Everything looks fine to me. Is there anything? Anything else? Yep, there's nothing else, we're good.
That would be,
Yep, we're good.
Thank you.
that's part of what we used to do.
Yeah. that was part-
Yes.
Have a good day.
Thanks, Angie.
Thank you.
Angie, would you go through on the same problem and come in for that?
Is Kim still in the attorney's office?
This is
Kim?
Yeah.
And there was somebody new in there when I stopped in the other day.
second,
Who is it?
second,
Stephanie who?
cute. Cute. HUETON.
Thank you.
I think that's what that, I think that's right.
Whatever, it's close. I'm sure. Yeah. Did not know her and Kim wasn't in there. I guess it was lunch hour. Carl was leaving.
We haven't found anywhere to save yet.
I'm sorry.
We haven't found any savings yet. That's what I'm.
You probably won't in the county, in most of the offices,
Yeah, in the office.
because they pretty much stay the same.
Yeah. And a hundred,
Yeah.
$100.
It's tomorrow,
That's where we can find them all.
sure, usually.
Yeah.
Or says all these laws they print.
I mean,
Well, but that, yeah.
he brings in his cracker rules.
And usually the the E911 or the EMA, we didn't even go over before because we don't have say so over.
Right.
The board doesn't have say so. Or 911.
We have a representative on both of them, so I can speak up there.
Mhm.
Okay. 130.
Will Jill talk to Corey about getting a laptop? Does Corey help the departments? Yeah. So does she know that?
I would think she did, but if not, we can reach
She
out.
maybe could
Yeah.
give her a better deal.
Yeah.
And know what she would need. I didn't know whether she knew that or not, since she's new. This is an entirely different side. From.
Mhm. Mm. We're still on our way up.
I know, that's just what I was looking at. I wonder why that,
Maybe people added or several people.
There was one that.
Okay, so they must have gone to family.
We have that sometimes.
Yeah,
How much does is the insurance, does the county pay for most of it? So they don't pay it, it's not like they
Yes,
pay,
they do some of it, like 78%. The
the county pays,
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry.
but single, they pay the whole thing.
Think, oh, okay, but
Unless they, don't think the wellness, if they don't think the wellness, they're penalized 3%. We started doing 5 years ago, I think. And we did that because, the first year we didn't have anything in place. And we found that the only people who didn't participate then by the singles, they didn't, they had to. And so, we actually lost percentage that year, we only got 4%.
Good morning.
more,
That's like a $10,000 to $15,000 savings.
you know,
Angie mentioned you guys are a little bit ahead of
Yeah.
schedules.
If that works,
Yeah, I have a pretty boring budget, so.
good. Well, when you're ready, we're ready, I think, we'll go ready. You wanna, you'll go over anything on there?
Not really, I guess, nothing has changed since last year. The only thing that really has changed is I calculated 3.85% that
Mhm.
the board suggested for salary increases. And then on page 2 of the budget, I moved things between a couple line items, just going back historically, what we spent on criminal prosecution, education, and training, meals, lodging, registration. I cut that down a bit and then put it down into office and data processing, maintenance, equipment repairs. Otherwise, it's the same budget as last year, so.
Well, we're working on several things right now, you're helping with several things, but as far as I'm within our 2 years, but I don't know how it generally is everywhere else, but I'd like to have, when we need it, as much interaction with the attorney's office to help us, because I'm not a lawyer and I don't know the answer to legal questions, a lot, so I'd like to see more of that.
is there, like, what I would like to see is you would be attending more meetings,
Yeah,
just to have you here.
Historically, it's been kind of, the board wants me here, I can be here.
Okay,
If you want me at all the meetings, I could probably do that, although with the evening meetings, that's.
well, and I would say at least 75% of the meetings,
Is the,
if you can.
what day is trials? And I always mix up what you tell me. What is the bad days for you?
First and third Fridays are magistrate trials. First and third Thursdays are juvenile court trials. Pretty much every Monday is district court motion days, criminal trials, however they schedule them for us. And then I've got a scheduling book, but it's usually the second Tuesday later in the month. And it can go from Tuesday to Friday, Tuesday to Wednesday. Last week I had an OWI trial, it was a jury trial on one day. So just,
That's like I've been to several city council meetings and they always have an attorney sitting there through their meeting.
yeah, I did that when I was city attorney for Bedford and Williston, all these towns, I was there for those. As far as being at the meetings myself, evening meetings are gonna be really difficult with, my wife works around Shuka over at Shenandoah, so try to figure that out.
And
Jim's,
Jim's schedule on that.
he's part-time, but he does city attorney for Villisca and Bedford. I
Which
think.
they're probably all meeting in the evening,
Other
probably.
meetings. I can be, I look at my schedule and be as many of them as I can.
Yeah.
And the
Most
thing
of the
about,
time, there might not be a legal question going on, but it is nice because we don't
yeah, and depending
bounce
on
something quick
the
or
nature of the question, I may not have an answer.
Right. we might say, oh, easy.
I'll try not to insert myself.
Right. Right, so that just be, and we're working on several things, so I just something to think about, to have that.
Yeah, with
legal-
this being so new, it's just nice
legal
to have,
opinion.
in case something goes, we step over bounds, or
I totally understand that.
sure we have lots of questions, and
and I really would like to readdress the night meetings. Because I don't like the night meetings. I think it's inconvenient for the other elected officials and department heads and
a big balance there, because we all.
I
elect
mean, if
about
people wanna come, they're gonna get here, and historically, you don't have that many at night, and
Right.
I just think it's not a great thing to do.
I think Zoom probably helps a lot with that.
It does, it helps a lot, yeah. So I don't think the night meetings are
Like some people.
necessary.
It's up
Well,
to
I
you.
know, but
you
if there,
work,
but
you
if there's
can't
something,
get your-
but if there's something on the agenda that they want, they can zoom in, or else, you know, they can take
We
time
have
off
to
and be here.
remember, I'm about looking at making it convenient, but Todd and I both ran on that. and
I
people
know,
voted
but-
by thousands of votes, to do, you know, one
Yeah.
thing, the problem is we got.
I don't think that's why, I don't think that's why you got
Well,
those.
Well, it's accessibility, and I think it's a balance. We did
Yeah.
one a month, and that seemed.
And that's entirely up to you.
Yeah, I know.
That one a month worked pretty good, and,
I
trying
think
to
that might be okay.
adjust it to fit what's convenient, but.
Yeah.
We all work for the people, so we got to figure out what's the best service for them.
We do, but you also have to think about the other elected officials and department heads who work 40 hours and who are in the office all day and then have to come at night. And, you know,
Every one of us, if everybody not elected, every one of us has to go on a ballot, I guess, we're all going on a ballot, we all do. So, yeah, there's a balance there, as we said, we even talked about a little bit the other day, we was talking about adjusting things. We're trying, maybe doing an afternoon thing, or, that would be, where anybody could still be here.
And in terms of what I do as county attorney, about 95% of it's prosecution, either magistrate, you know, traffic court, district court, those sort of things. The other 5 to 10% is advising the board on civil matters, but that's the primary thing that we do as prosecutors.
Well, you're our attorney, you're the board's attorney and advice,
If you look at
the counties in
If
general.
you look at the 331, there's about 80 different things that I'm responsible for, supposed to do. Some of them are very odd and unusual things, like fence viewers and disputes involving town.
Yeah, that's another one, yeah, you're,
Rare things, but yeah, there's.
doesn't happen often, but it does happen sometimes, so. Okay, well, I think. I don't see anything out of order in here.
Like I said, it's identical to last year's, other than the salary increase and then shifting those two items back and forth. I try and fine tune it every year. It's been tough with the whole COVID thing. Because typically we would do depositions, and that's always kind of a crapshoot to try to figure out how often we'll do depots on criminal cases, because it's entirely up to defendants and their attorneys, whether they want to depose victims and law enforcement. And for a while there, we did none of that because of COVID, and then it started back up again. I've not been able to nail down, you know, an exact estimate of how many we do every year. It just seems random at times. And the problem we're running into now is, we're running out of court-appointed defense attorneys. And I think. our
I read that,
Chief Justice mentioned something about that. We just lost another one last Monday. He's backing out of Page County. He lives up in Glenwood, practices up there. He's a magistrate up there also. And so he just doesn't have the time to drive down here and not be reimbursed for drive time and some of those things. So we're an hour and a half from anywhere in a sense. And most of the attorneys that we appointed work for Glenwood Council officer. And I don't know if the state public defenders are gonna do something about that. Their budgets are limited. And that's way above my pay grade, so, but it is becoming an issue here.
hard.
So,
Plus the fact we don't have that many attorneys around.
yeah, when I first moved here, 15 years I've been here, and we had 2 or 3 law firms, and they're down to basically a few part-time and TJB. So,
Okay, well,
Makes it tough.
anything else on that? Very good, good talk.
that's good.
All right.
Thanks,
That's what
Carl.
we need. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
You want to see if Cory wants to stop in next?
Yep, I'll let them know.
Thank you.
That works too. That's the word.
I know, that's the word.
That's the word.
Oh.
You want this?
Yeah. Thank you. This is more second, I'm doing it wrong. Okay, do you have, we are going to this second week.
Way ahead,
Good.
yes.
The reason I like times.
He's gonna be just a few minutes, he's over at the annex. Do you guys want to look at your budget?
And.
Number one,
Number one.
number one. Why is Pierce Creek on there under board?
For watershed projects, the board started budgeting for that, a couple years ago. In case there was any maintenance issues.
Some from 50 years ago or 60 years ago, the water stands up there.
I guess I wondered why it wasn't under non-departmental.
A couple years ago, they wanted, in their budget. And that was.
Okay.
I didn't use it for this time. Everything on this is pretty straightforward, I'm hoping publications will go down, but, and we'll certainly know that it's not reduced anything. Since they have one for now,
Right,
but it's not having a year yet of that, I wanted to wait just in case they didn't know that publication cost. We're going to go up.
they can't show. They can't,
On
they can't.
So do I not show it till next year?
Yeah.
On here?
Well, no, they just need to change it.
Okay, so which,
So you're out.
You're
Yeah,
ti- Yeah, you're out.
no, I would be under that one.
now, so we're 39,530. Well, I talked about the last couple of years, as far as our salary goes.
But I'm not getting, okay. Cause I did not sign up for insurance, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So we could lessen the
It'll be a
insurance
savings
bill.
there.
So at this time, I didn't know where everybody was.
When is the re-enrollment in that? When does that change?
Today. And so sometimes we do, I do always try to, if somebody is going to change, because if not, then it's not budgeted item.
Right. So you leave it a little bit alone to make sure that doesn't
Yeah.
change.
Because once in a while we do have people that say, no, I don't need it, and then 2 months later, when they say, changed my mind.
Yeah.
You can take mine off, because I'm not gonna change my mind,
Okay,
so you can lessen that
okay, for. health insurance.
for the health insurance.
And then,
And then I did the single dental, so.
our salaries go, the top three things. Last couple of years, I think we're paid plenty. I think that's all. Well, I mean, we do, it is a big responsibility, but last couple of years, I've tried to lower the supervisor pay a little bit. To lead by example, so I think. I'd kind of like to see it go down 3%. If we're taking everybody else up 3 or 3.85 or whatever. Is kind of what I'd like to do. I don't know what that would be. It'd be kind of like just. Going back to the previous year, I think what would be, or would that be? Maybe the 21 year,
38136 is what it would be the year before.
yeah, whatever it was that year before, I can't. Yeah,
To the 20,
we need
21.
21, 22, we really do something. Public servants lead by example. Knock at 3%, then we can next year go whatever from there, or freeze it or see what things look like, but. I've made that motion last 2 years in a row, and it'd be wrong not to do it again, so I think it's the right thing to do on that.
How do you feel about that, Todd?
I am fine with it, cause I am in no position to give myself any more money.
Yep, me
Just
either.
because I'm learning and, you know, I have a full-time job. This is not what I'm doing this for. I'm not doing it for the pay.
Right.
Okay,
So if we can like lead by example and, I mean, I'm a servant. The way I look at it is I'm trying to serve the taxpayers
That's right,
and I'm not doing it to get rich. I'm not doing it as a job.
right,
I'm doing it as a service.
that's right,
and I agree totally with both of you.
so,
I'm not doing it for the pay, and
I think you can zero it out, I'm not sure if we can go.
I'm not sure either, I tried to the last 2 years.
I think you can lower
Yeah, there's one paragraph out there, I forget, we used to have it, but yeah, we are a public service, and we're trying to just work for the taxpayer. So if we can do that, I think that's just backing up 3%, and that also help lead by example to other employees.
Are you winded?
Are you winded? Take the stairs?
Oh, no, there, you take a minute. Oh, my goodness, you just take a break, don't, you got time, don't worry. I would have to, take a serious break. It's no hurry, it's okay. So there's that, so if we can adjust it down, we'll do that, and, sounds like, what other areas have we got here? Is everything else pretty cut and dry?
Probably right
Now,
now,
on
except
our-
the insurance.
Where's that? With our several different legal things going on, where do we find money for that at? Where do we have?
I budgeted something there.
Okay. If we're gonna have a lot of expenses. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, and I see based on last year, kind of an idea, or use year today. We've got some issues. There's a training, did you see that at the February 2nd meeting up there? They're gonna talk about the carbon pipeline, all that stuff.
Oh, I saw
Taylor,
that. Did you end up signing up to go to that?
I think I did, or I'm supposed to. I think
I
it
haven't.
didn't cost but $10 more, I think, to do it.
I was looking at it, I
I
didn't think there was that much there.
Will that deal with the,
I asked Melissa about it and that's on February 2nd, right?
yeah, I think I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I looked at the supervisor's agenda and I didn't think there was that
Yeah,
much.
well, this thing,
pipeline,
they've been
yeah.
coming in every, you know,
The board of supervisors may adopt a decrease in compensation paid to supervisors irrespective of the county compensation
Yeah.
board recommended.
well, there we go. Let's make history here. What do you say?
Sure.
So what were you going to do?
Let's go down. I think I'd like to make a motion. We go down 3% if we have to make a motion.
Down 3%.
So that would be 38136.
Do you mean from last year's salary number or from the proposed this year's salary number?
I don't know. I guess it'd be last year.
3%, a decrease from 3% last year.
From this current salary.
Okay.
The current salary is
So, yeah, current salary is this,
39,530.
yeah, so 3% from that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go down. Maybe we're making history here. So that'd be a motion I'd make. I guess we can just put it on the record then. So here, second.
I'll second it.
Judy seconds. The discussion, we've already basically made the discussion. We're trying to work for the taxpayer and lead by example.
Yep.
Everything's getting more expensive except this. So we'll go down a little bit. So all those in favor?
I,
Aye. There we go. We'll cut that to 3, save a little money. Anything else in there? We've adjusted the legal. We've adjusted-
Just need to adjust the
the
insurance.
insurance,
Oh, yeah, we can adjust that down too, be a saving.
Yeah. Okay,
So that'll get adjusted and redone. So anything else you see? Looking over it. Do the membership. Okay, does that have the NACO in it? Is that $500 or something? I'm kind of. Where's that at? That NACO?
NACO's in
Oh, that's
99.
a that's a different, okay, different thing. Okay, I guess we're good. I'm gonna look at all of it.
What was the 975 in dues and memberships last year? There's an extra $600.
I don't know, what's that there?
yeah. Where were you looking at? Susan?
It's the very last line item on the supervisor's budget.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Use here today.
When Melissa's done, she can check it. See. And it was $775 the year before,
Okay,
so.
I'm sorry, what commission are you-
The very last one, these are memberships with supervisor, the last 2 years, it's been over the 375. Was there something with the ISAC?
Yeah, those are ISAC fees, I think probably prior to that, when John went to a lot of the supervisor meetings that go out.
And we're being doing that.
Oh.
I plan on the ones that are applicable, trying to attend as much as I can.
It was a soil project. ISAC soil compaction.
Oh, that was that $500 or was that 600? Yes, I remember that now.
It was the, supervisor dues and the capital and compensation.
And then the year before it was 400 over.
Yeah, and that was a licensing for Ezra. That they wanted for.
Like a one time thing. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Okay, so just basically. Reduction in salary and insurance, that would be it. Okay,
do we have enough in our training and stuff? And it would cost a few $100 to go up there. They're not
Yeah.
there. I can't find that line. Those are training line.
the educational training, it's on page 2, page 3.
Oh, I see, okay, right there. Because we're all, we're at 67% this year, just went up $200, is that right? Oh, is that per person?
That's per person.
And that covers hotels and all that too, or is that just the
Yeah.
fees for the seminars?
Both.
Both, okay.
Does it cost to go up there, a couple $100 just to attend their, like their spring conference cost?
Yeah, and I was a little bit lost, I don't know who wants to agree. Card, my little subscriptions and stuff, I don't know.
Yeah,
This is longer.
they might need a little more money there, and we'll have savings maybe somewhere else, but.
Yeah.
Because we're not really doing a lot of mileage anymore, but there's just a cost to go to these things. I don't know.
How come Allen's mileage is less than Jacobs and Chuck?
I don't think that.
I've never heard of it.
Each of them,
Okay,
so.
Yeah.
Did they,
Chuck is the only one
even,
really turned in.
even when they went to Des Moines or anything like that, they didn't turn mileage?
Each of
Oh, okay.
that would be the time to do it, but
That's
We
the
have
only
to leave
yeah,
the
I did it because we went to Des Moines.
yeah, that, I
Don't
think
do it to come to
probably,
meetings or nothing.
no, I think you should, but a lot.
You have to leave the county, go somewhere.
Yeah.
A lot of them before used to take mileage from Shenandoah.
To Shenandoah.
Yeah. Yes, they did.
So outside of Page County, you have to go up to Des Moines, different animal, I think.
I think going out of town, yeah, okay.
But other than that, so we're saving some money there, but there's a lot of money budgeted there that's not gonna amount to much, maybe a little bit of travel up there, so.
That's by code, how much you can put in there, so,
Okay.
yeah. Better get to Corey, I guess.
Okay, so are you guys good with this? If I need to change the salary to insurance.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
So do we need any more than 300 or 500 we're already at for education? We're gonna have enough for the spring conference?
I would leave them just the same for
Just see
right
what
now,
happens.
just to see what happens, yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, I'm ready for IT.
Back of your 18.
Have you got your breath for it? We got, okay, all right. You ran all that way, that's a long way. Let's see,
I think if you look at this budget, there's not really any differences besides the 3.85 salary, so this is pretty standard. This is pretty easy, kind of like.
Pretty easy, yep.
Most of the other departments and just budgeting for basic computer changes that we do. Kind of on our
where's
rotating
it at?
list.
I'm lost. In the very
I'd
back?
say it's, yeah, it's 97,
1997,
Yeah.
way back.
way in the back. Considering 99 is the last you got.
Yeah, let's do the, I just got it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so corporate. Good. Oh, there it was, right, looks like the plan,
Pretty standard.
all right.
You guys have any more burning questions before I?
Now that we had him rush over here.
Right.
See, you have to go back now, Corey.
On the, this is kind of just a separate issue, but on the internet situation here, do we need to see Carter trying to get internet across the street or not? Do we need to try and get high speed in Borehamp? That's just a question.
I did talk to, Amy over at
Clarendon,
Clarendon Economic Development, is that
Yeah.
what she's in charge of, but she, yeah, we were talking about that, and she's working on some things. And I told her whatever we could do as a supervisor group to support that, because I think that's important. That the county as a whole, we need to get up to speed internet, and especially in this building.
seems crazy we can't get across the road.
Well, yeah, I don't,
Different projects all over, I mean, like, it's weird because in rural Iowa, like, out where we live, they're not working on fiber for us.
right, yeah.
It seems to get there faster than it gets in town because they have grants to go out in the rural area.
But I think media, is it MediaCom? Open Street, that's working on it in town right now. Cause I had.
Windstream came to my door. They
Okay,
came to my door and wanted me to switch,
okay,
which is Connecticut.
yes,
So, yeah.
so I mean, I think we could probably reach out to them too, cause I think right now.
It's pretty high, maybe it's getting cheaper, maybe they're getting closer.
Well, I think as they run lines,
Cause FMTC's running too.
they have been doing.
Is that what's across the road, that farmer telephone company, or, I don't remember. I know there's, the bank has it,
Yeah, it's just crazy that not everybody.
across the road. Somehow I'll go get that over here,
And so far we've been functioning, okay.
because we increased the size of the cable or whatever, right, or whatever it was,
We got a cable in building.
to handle the load.
So.
No, we're, right,
And
it's like getting a bigger garden house, what we did, yeah.
in addition to something that were 300 and 30,
Which one is, that's kind of a fiber speed, almost 300, well, which pay, well. And what we pay for that, for the same thing in fiber, I wonder what the difference is there, it's cheaper for that speed in fiber, if we're getting along all right. Or not, I don't know. I think we're on Windstream right now at home, and we need to look into, they ran, IMO came by, and we can hook up to them. Fiber, and I think for the same price we got. I don't know if we need it or not, maybe we can go down a notch, but it's just something I've been wondering about. See what it'd be now. Okay, well,
Looks good, Corey.
I don't see anything else here. What's questions you got? Todd, do you have anything?
No, it looks fine.
You can walk back.
Yeah.
Don't hurry. Don't run.
Oh, dear.
Okay, so we've got everything done then. Right at noon. Oh, we've got a 1 o'clock now.
No. That's it,
All we have is
yeah.
auditor election and then all this county.
Is it okay to go ahead with all those now and not have this afternoon?
What, I'm so sorry.
Is it okay to go ahead with all these now and not have to have?
I would, I mean, if you guys are good with it,
I'm good with it. Are you
do you
good?
want me to go next? Is that next on the list?
Yeah, if you're all right, I'm all right. We'll go ahead and get done.
Yeah,
All right. You guys want to start with the auditor?
sure.
So we're on,
Have you hired anybody new yet?
so we're gonna have some more, actually my lunch today at 3:30. You guys have to leave by 3:30.
We'll be happy to leave before. I'm not used to these long days sitting in meetings.
So, I heard pretty much standard. I did change, for health insurance, I did budget for a, for family health insurance, just in case the new person comes on it, takes that. I felt like that was the safer of the options. Other than that, it's just, the increases in, everything in dental is what I had somebody, not on any dental, so I did have the budget for family for that too, so that. Resulted in, that's basically the majority of my increases there. I left all my fees pretty much the same. So I could have took that transfer fees a little bit, but also I feel like they ebb and flow, so.
Are you gonna go down, or did you account for percentages on the deputies?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Okay,
so.
Line 3, that $3,000, what's that?
That is for, we always budget for some other help, and that's just basically if at different times we've had issues, we haven't used it a lot, but, I would leave it in there just in case, it's kind of just one of those safe havens that if we run into any complication or anything at any point in time. Sometimes I think it should probably be more in elections, but we've left it in auditor. But different times during elections, but then we've had to call somebody, and then pay them a small wage. Usually we try to do $15 an hour and have them come in, so.
if you have somebody, I mean, if you would have, meetings and you guys would need to be gone and just have
Yeah.
somebody sitting in the office.
Yeah, sometimes we've
So,
done that.
that's pretty standard,
The
yeah.
reason it doesn't look like we've had, since COVID, we haven't. Prior to that, though, we did use that periodically when we
Yeah.
needed to. I think years ago, Judy came in and answered the phones for us.
I did one day, yeah.
One time we had Christy's daughter come in and answer
Mhm.
Patty, so just so then there's somebody there, or especially like if we're crazy busy with elections. Sometimes we'll just bring somebody in, so people have somebody to talk to, just so then they don't think we're not answering the phones in the way now. They don't like that.
No. That's not a taxpayer friendly thing.
Great. Do you guys have any questions on it?
I think it looks good.
Okay, you wanna go to elections next? It's a little bit farther in the book. Yeah. And, this is pretty much, oh, this one changed too, but Kristen coming in, the first one was family for her. And then this one is, for new too, so. Due to the changes we've had, so.
So is Ann gonna do this one, or this is your new employee, the elections?
I haven't fully decided where I'm gonna have everybody fall. We're still trying to figure out, right now, this would have been Christie's.
Right,
But right now I haven't decided what everybody's niche is going to be yet, so, we're still kind of working through. Kind of transition where I think everybody should end up, if that makes sense, but their strength is, I guess.
right. So maybe do you need to decrease that? Is that that's
If that's a new person, when they come in lower.
Well,
Possibly.
depending on who I hire, potentially, I do have some people with some already, really good experience I'm looking at. So if I do hire somebody, with that experience, I would be able to recommend. Wage comparable to where I feel like they need to be at, so. And other than that, everything else is pretty standard. We always budget for, special election. We already know we're gonna have one in September, ethics and potentially a current into the two actually. So, that's something that's, just to keep in mind. We try to, we don't use anything in this unless we need it, so it's not like it's, friendlessly wasted if we don't.
And
So,
basically, we used to always leave it the same rather than going up and down and up and down.
Yeah.
Because the consistency is much easier.
The only
to
thing
deal
next
with.
year is if we do end up with 2 or 3 specials, I'll have to pass that.
Yeah.
Just because, well, and the revenue will come on those, but, just because we don't have the budget for that many, right now, I'm thinking we'll probably gonna end up with 2, I'm hoping not 3. So
And maybe do a jail maybe next year or
Yeah.
whatever.
if
Yeah.
we have something, then we'll have to reconsider that.
And
So I tried to leave it kind of the same, just for simplicity's sake, and, do you guys just, well, we did the budget, but if those things change, we need to amend for that.
Right.
And then on the revenue side of that, if we do hold specials, and city and school elections, we charge them for that. We can't charge them for our time, but we can charge them for the programming, those sort of things. Our programming, lessons has increased, so. We just bill them for, like, we don't add anything, it's just directly what we get from that, so.
They charge for publications, ballots, programming, all of it.
All the funds,
All the stuff you can definitely charge for, you charge.
yeah, we do try to charge them, I mean, not to me, but we do try to charge them, when we can, just because. We feel like we're providing service to them, so.
Especially since you have to do the primary and the general
Right.
on our dime.
Right. And it was a couple of years ago, they talked about, the legislators talked about taking that out, and we bought it. And
You mean not charging them?
Yeah,
Jeez.
so, yeah,
Hmm,
so we've been fortunate that we've been able to do that. And,
yeah.
do you guys have any questions?
This is probably a dumb question, I'm gonna ask you.
There's no dumb question.
So on the, it's gonna go, oh, maybe I'm already, never mind.
Got it?
Yeah, that was back at the other page, I think. I was just thinking about that, I think that 3,000 that you had on your,
Mhm.
that if you paid somebody to come in and if you don't use that, where does that money go?
It just goes back to the general fund.
It just goes.
Your salary lines, your payroll lines, you really can't do anything with.
Okay,
I
I just wondered where, if you didn't use that money, where does it end
It's
up?
back in the general, yeah. None of the,
And you can.
things that are in the general fund stay with the
They don't
department,
get to
they don't
stay.
carry over.
Okay,
Every year.
that's what I was wondering if
Yeah.
it's just a, okay,
And so you can, I mean, like I need to say, like, you can see the different departments, like with me, you can see that I don't use it, I don't use it.
yep,
And then you'll find sometimes others, use it. but-
Spend at the end of the
we'll
year.
try to find
It's a
it,
bank,
to use it
they create a bank.
instead of,
And I was trying to alert you guys to that. Judy's probably aware of some of those already, so.
okay,
Yes.
Okay, thank
Some-
you.
Some definitely, spend at the end of the year,
You guys have any questions or anything?
and you'll soon find out who they are.
Okay.
oh, looks good.
You guys ever want to lost?
Is that in here under lost, or is that, what does that stand for? The local
That's
option?
number 12, local option.
That's what I thought it was.
Local option, and you guys should each got, a
Sign
spreadsheet.
sheet.
If you want to start with the spreadsheet, I haven't changed anything in. Well, yeah, I always have to go through the spreadsheet first.
Yeah, you gave it to me, I'll go find it here.
This year, I just put numbers down to start with, so you guys could kind of tweak them as you see fit, but.
What was our total income this year?
We can go to the top of that spreadsheet.
567.
Yep.
What was our last year? Have that sheet up somewhere. Did we go up? Not have it in here, but I don't think-
For 35.
I'm just curious if we have more money or less.
We went up. We always anticipated like 1 to 2% increase of 2 years. Last year was.
Is it the same?
527, 550.
Oh, okay. Oh, because you said you hadn't done this, right? Okay.
Okay. Was 527, is that?
Yes.
527, 550?
So we went up
500, yep.
about 40,000, 40,000. Now, did we have, I gotta remember, like we were saving for some stuff like the,
Yep, and I have those coming back in here. You can have designated projects that you can hold some of your local option. And so then you can actually keep that larger balance that then you're gonna put towards it. So last year we put some money towards the jail. And so then this year, the extra. I just allocated to capital, like the jail project potentially.
so if we left everything else the same, you just put everything in the jail?
Yeah, pretty much. So the extras I just shoved in the jail project, so,
Now, the windows tuck pointing, is that,
yeah, that's capital project, that's jail and just tuck money, so that was. technically-
okay, so it can have be out of that too?
Yeah.
Cause we paid for that with other funds.
Yes,
Where's Brenda's thing that was in there, is it going now?
I'm so sorry.
The recorder, what we were doing for books, is it still in there?
We,
Preservation right there, I guess, it's gone.
yeah, the only thing you might want to consider doing is, allocating probably about 8,000 to 9,000 a year, I actually forgot about that. Just because we are gonna have, maintenance fees on that every year. Which, right now, we can use ARPA money, but once the ARPA money's gone.
Yeah.
Do we look over or oversee the maintenance of like the veterans building and Sheehan?
Yeah,
That's
it's
in
a,
99.
Okay,
it's,
and that,
we'll get to it.
oh, okay, so that's not part of this, okay, all right, that's,
While I'm thinking about it, when you mentioned ARPA, it popped in my mind. I asked them, when we were up there at Des Moines last week, I talked to Jamie Cashman. We don't have somebody signed up to be our, whatever you call it, our person who can get on and look at the ARPA stuff, do we? I mean, cause Alan,
Alan did it. and-
right, so so we've gotta get somebody, I talked to him, he said, the auditor will be good, or one of us, whatever, but you're in there all the time. Now, that thing we were concerned about, I still have great concern with. And being done right, so we can use the money for anything we want, and he actually, if I understood him right, acted like, until March, we can go in there, now they've changed it again, where we can double check, and he said he will walk through it with anybody to make sure we've done it right, so we don't get, if you don't do it right, then also the money we spend should be big up. So, I think it'd be wise to have the auditor on there, and one of us if we want, we just gotta make sure that somebody's,
Oh, I think that when we initially talked about that, we said it should be one of you guys,
okay, well, then we gotta get that,
just because for checks and balances, we're paying out every.
Logged in.
other side.
I had two on there before, and I've got no problem there being two different people, and make sure we've just done it right.
Who else do we have in that?
That Tom Norview was on there,
Oh,
remember? So they had Al and him on there both, because he was kind of an employee
So
here
they're
all
both
the time.
gone.
They're both gone, so we need to have, either we got two of us, or have the auditor and supervisor, or whatever, we just need to have two people for March. Call him and he'll make sure, we gotta get a federal, what's the thing? You have to be able to get in, I don't have that,
right,
so I gotta figure out how to do that, if I do it or when you guys do it, I don't care. We just gotta make sure it's done right.
Maybe it should be the treasurer and a board member.
Yeah, I
Do you
think
think?
it should
That's
be
fine.
somebody outside of the audit.
Okay, that's fine. Maybe have Angie and him, one of us, I don't care who does it all, we just gotta make sure, he said he was,
Initially, we kind of decided it wasn't a good idea to have.
so that's why Tom and Al was on there, so. Whatever, that's fine, so we just need to do that, like this month, it needs to be done, get one of those federal. And he will walk, okay. Do we as individuals have, he said we'd have to show a picture of your,
Yes, that's a separate part of each person who gets on there.
he's got to do it,
Like, it's like a webinar or like an activation or something.
to make sure you're legitimate or whatever, so that's real important, because the, $3 million, there's certain things that have to be checked that we had a. Can't remember the wording of it, but we qualify to spend the money on whatever we want to spend it on, we do qualify, we just have to make sure it's done right, and it probably is, but I wanna make sure it is. And he said we have to mark to open things up to make sure all of it will be good. So that needs to be, no, think they wanna do that?
I wouldn't mind doing it.
That'd be good with me. Judy wants to do that. Maybe talk to Angie about it.
Yeah,
Let's
why
get
don't
that
you-
going.
Can you take care of that, Melissa, and get us some, whatever we need to do?
I think we have it done on the county side, it's you individually have, to like, you have to go in and set yourself up as an
Okay.
admin. Like, I.
And Angie don't have to
You
also.
show a picture of your face,
Okay,
and I think you have to have a picture of your ID with you when you do it.
okay.
I know there's a whole process, but Al told me about it.
Yeah, and I never got done. Jamie Cash.
So Jamie Cash.
He is the one, I said we'd be talking to him. He
Okay,
said he can walk you through it.
and he's ISAC.
He's like one of the head guys, I think.
Okay.
The president or something, so,
No, that's Bill Peters.
or the CEO or whatever. they are.
The only thing I think we should probably change on this is to budget like 9,000 for that historical preservation. And that would just be for the complete, and then I just would do is the capital projects for the jail under that community betterment from 89,945 to 80,945. I forgot, let's make this piece, so I'll just.
80,000, okay.
And then the library needs to be over,
That's right. Hi, Craig.
Anybody will use that, it's all.
Right across the room, right across the hall, right there.
So,
So-
9,000 is for the preservation of records.
yeah.
So this money that is JD's already getting this rural basic money. These are just road money that's going on there. Trying to find it. The 90,000 of money JD gets to work with. On the first section, the transfer to rural basic. Is that his?
The transfer to rural basic, that is, it's a combination of some goes to secondary roads and some goes to the sheriff's department for sheriff protection.
What's the 40,000 then for transfer to rural basic for law enforcement?
That's also for law enforcement.
So Lyle counting on that, I'm sure.
Yes,
But there's also money then that comes out of the 90,000 that goes to rural law enforcement,
that
well.
actually, sorry, that one.
that's for the transfer to rural basic.
Well, law enforcement on here.
Yeah,
That's because we pay for the rural deputies.
yeah,
To make it fun to fund that.
and that's out of your property tax relief then, so you're actually providing property tax relief.
Right.
We need more screens up here, you know, you use like 3 computer monitors. Yeah, sorry.
So we've got about 40,000 if you count the two capital project lines that we could grab and what we didn't have to have the jail or some kind of find money we could grab when we need it. For
Yeah, then you're gonna have to increase your rural levy by.
well, what I mean is to speed up, a road project somewhere, we only have about 130.
You gotta be careful how you do this, because it's the percentages, you gotta.
Yeah,
You gotta
can
watch.
we capital projects, can those be road projects or not? Can those be a road, I'm just brainstorming.
I
I'm
would
just-
say you're more gonna look at your infrastructure portion, that 5% down below.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, I would say to negative, I mean, it is property tax relief, but if you're gonna make a road project with that. I don't know with the state auditor,
Are you really sure you want to give him any more?
No, it'd be for specific, trying to
Good luck.
speed up a road situation, because we've got a couple that are ground up, and this is not enough money to fix it anyway. I'm just trying to figure out how we can speed up the ground up roads a little bit. If there's any options.
yeah, that 90,000 is just, it's basically, it's 100%. Actually,
Which putting back a road that's already, that's, I mean, I don't know, I would think a road would be, county owns the road.
potentially something that you could just look at their budget, specifically first on.
Well, he's gonna be hunting money, I'm sure he's gonna think you don't have no money. Some of these well, I'm trying to. When we have people here laying down the hard surface, it's cheaper when they're here to do more. But this isn't enough money to even do, what did he say it was a mile? Do you remember, was it 300,000 a mile? I think that's what he said, 250 or 300,000 a mile, I think it's right.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't even do it. Wow. Not a half a mile.
How much do we have put back for jail? In prior years.
So last year,
Where's that savings account?
you. Hang on. So last year, we set back, 40,000 approximately, there's 39,758. But that was for the jail study,
Which was 25,000, I think,
yeah.
or something. Did they do two different? Was there two different things, the 25 and something else?
I think I have to double check, I thought all of that was,
Probably, yeah, sure did.
I think there was two different.
Two phases. Right, so we don't really have much in savings on it, we spent that money.
You had, and then you also allocated 7,808 for either the jail or for trafficking. But I have to double check how much.
Because we used ARPA for checkpointing, don't we?
Program.
Didn't we use the ARPA for checkpointing that big?
Yeah, that.
I know, I got cough earlier.
Any Kleenex in here?
Yeah. Here. Around there.
Thank you, I'll bring one of my own. I sneezed in my nose.
I end up-
My eyes watering.
My eyes water worse in this room than anywhere else.
And other than, and then you allocated another, well, you would have another 50,000 right there because you allocated some for windows or jail. And so if the windows project two would need that as well.
What's that look like? 50,000 there, and I didn't hear that.
So we maybe have 120,000.
In savings. What's 11? I thought it was new. It really does good. I thought it was new. Yeah, I thought it was new. Okay, 190. 180, then we have, and those other things, we have about 100 and. What was it? We have 60. 90, so. Or 80, about 130 or 40.
I'm sorry, I don't follow.
I'm just looking at the capital project lines for this year, out of this money, what we have spent. So we have say 80 minus the 9,000, 80,000. And then another about 60,000, so. About 140,000-ish and 108. So about 250,000 almost in money set aside.
So potentially if you did this for another year or two before the jail project was voted on.
We could go up 100 every year.
Close to 5,000 or 6,000. Which is a good chunk of change to put kind of down as
right?
a starting.
And then is it my understanding that Florida has $1 million, if they go in with this?
If they want.
If they
They
join
go
us,
with this?
if they join the project,
I'm
yeah.
part of those conversations.
You're not, oh, you've not been part of, okay.
I don't.
Oh, okay. Well,
This looks
I
like.
met with the libraries earlier, I met with Andrew there last week, or week before, whatever it was. and Are they gonna come in and present probably or not? They generally come in, the library, is that next week, are they not coming in?
Didn't they already come
Maybe
in?
they already came. Did he give his ask what he wanted? Or,
You can just add.
I wasn't here, that day on the phone, I don't remember.
I mean, he always comes in with different numbers he likes.
I think this number's been the same for a long time, hasn't it?
Last year we went up some.
Did
It
you?
goes up every year based on the rule valuation.
Yeah, there's a minimum,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
We're a little bit over that.
So your minimum is 34,897, if you look on the spreadsheet over to the right. Right?
Right.
And we've always been more,
Rule valuation.
Yep.
So right now you're at the 39,950, I think was where you were last year too.
Mhm.
And I think last year the libraries asked for 34, so you guys exceeded their.
Hmm. One thing I was thinking about there, if you look at Coin, I talked to Andrew about this, Coin got $1,180 total. And they put a lot of hours in there, and they take $1,100, all volunteer and do quite a bit. I don't know if another few $100s for them would make a world difference, it's all, none money is wasted on salary, not dime, everything is into service. It's a tiny library, but it's nice to have there.
Right, and when you allocate it, it's. You're allocating it the total to them and then they kind of, I think they have a formula that they've agreed upon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's,
I agree.
I don't have the paper with me, but they adjusted it up, the formula is so,
Oh, so that line just
Lopsided.
goes to all the libraries they.
and then they cut it,
Yeah.
they divide it, but
We divvy it up.
Redivide it.
They tell us this, what you
Oh,
guys
what
think.
they think.
Okay.
I just think. Now they're providing more service in Corin and Shenandoah than Coin. But, those little libraries, I throw them just a little bit of it wouldn't take that much money to make a huge difference in their budget. A few $100s would make a great difference.
I'm amazed at all the stuff they do.
They're all volunteer, there's no salaries, no
Well,
insurance,
they're in, yeah,
all the libraries.
all the libraries.
all the
They're very
libraries.
big assets, but the county. I use the library.
Your Corinne and Shane with the salaries.
Yes, they do. I'm talking about Coin and Essex. I don't, Essex is part-time.
Yeah.
Anyway, we talked about that. He understood that a little bit of money to them would go a long way. So I really don't know. I can't remember.
I think we used to do $500 to them, so I think this is
Yeah.
a good chunk.
Yes,
For
it
them.
just changed, I think,
Yeah.
a few years ago.
Yeah, so it's good for them.
It's increased.
So all of the total is just staying the same as last year is the plan.
By code, you're required to do the 34,897.53, and so at this point in time, you are doing.
More than code.
Doing what they could.
Okay. Strokes, fires, all that. So what's this 55,000 for jail project up here? I just looked at that wrong. On the first line, the 55,000 up there for the jail project. On the first section,
Yeah.
there's another 55,000 for the jail, so there's actually,
Yeah, the 55,896 and 80,009,
and then another 58,000 at the bottom, so there's three sections for that.
correct. You're kind of balancing all over.
Yeah, I'm all over the place, let's see, so. We really have about 200,000 in capital money sitting there this year.
And the good thing about, just from a taxpayer perspective is if you choose to use local option on some of this, it is countywide property, basically countywide property tax relief.
Mhm.
If you levy, your debt service is gonna go across every single entity, you know, or every single taxpayer. It's not like rural is gonna pay more, you know.
That affects it, a levy for jail affects everybody. Okay.
I should say everybody gets to pay for jail. Hopefully nobody, not everybody ends up there, but.
Mhm.
I hope not. I hope not.
Better make it nice.
That was gladly paid for and never have to use them.
Mhm.
Mhm. I think these look pretty good. Based on what we've done in the past.
It's about 195,000 to set aside for the jail,
Mhm.
which depending on where things go, I mean, that's a good chunk of change to. Especially, and I can look and see how much we spent on these other two from this year, but potentially if you have it go through another year to 2 years, you can have approximately maybe 500,000 or 600,000.
So we just decided to leave this as is, move the 9,000 down to preservation. And then leave it as we see it here. Now in that, the money we had setting aside for election equipment and stuff, we paid for that with ARPA, where did that money go? Is it,
It just went back into yours, so technically you could redistribute that to your jail or.
is it in that fund you were talking about, the savings fund earlier, or where did it
Local options are restricted funds, so if you don't spend it, it has to stay. in.
stay?
Yeah.
Is it underneath that heading, or was it under?
What's the balance in the local election?
So it can be split up anywhere we want. If we
Yeah,
decide.
percentage
I mean, by
wise,
percentage.
percentage.
Yeah.
So it has to be where, in the election category forevermore?
So that was under the community betterment, so it has to stay under that.
Whatever's spent has to stay under the same.
So we need to know a total for each line, each section, I guess. Savings or whatever, a balance.
Well, yes and no, your jail project, though, you're able to hit several different.
It hits all of
Like, if you put it towards jail, you're basically taking care of that, because your jail can hit your property tax related to the betterment and they're basically your infrastructure too.
Was there a bunch of money in the window building remodel too?
It covered several things.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we had money set aside, then we used our money.
Jail windows and tuck pointing, so that was all one,
But then,
yeah.
I'm saying that last section there, the very last line on the whole paper, windows, building, remodel.
Yep. I
Is-
had all three,
Oh, you reserve funding, I see.
yeah,
There's 3 sections we have reserve funding in.
correct.
Okay, so we just put a total in each one of those. Okay,
So like last year, your jail was at 108,076.
was that the,
And then if you wanted to, you could reallocate that election equipment to the jail under community betterment, because that 56,000 will touch.
is that a different?
It just has to stay in that community betterment category.
I'm lost. Okay, 50.
I'm from last year, sorry.
This is money we can't see on here.
Correct.
Yes,
This, by each section, we have a savings. So property tax relief section, how much do we have in savings there? The first section.
Last year you allocated 17 or 39,758 out of the property tax. And then you allocated 17,808 out of community betterment. And then you allocated 50,510 out of infrastructure last year.
that was all for the jail.
Yeah, that was up for the jail.
Could you maybe just do a spreadsheet for us? what's
Yeah,
there.
maybe, yeah, just to
And
see what's in
what the
savings.
local option balance is and what has to be in every one.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
that'd
kind
be
of gives
great.
a savings picture, because this boiler is coming too, whether it be, we have to look into the boiler situation.
Wait, there is still funding in your ARPA.
Yeah, we go there, or we've saved money, I thought, for some of these things, like if the window money went to windows, and now it's, I
I would
think,
say if you're starting a project, even now, you want to use your ARPA money first
Right.
and
Right.
hold your local option.
I'm just curious, you
With
know,
a timestamp on that.
to the 26th, yeah,
So.
I'm just curious what the, well, we can spend it, because it can be spent on roads and stuff, so it can be spent in 2 seconds, so it wouldn't take very long, but the balances would be nice to see what they're, even as we talk about jail and all this other stuff.
The ARPA money can be spent on roads.
Yep. Any
How
general,
much ARPA
general,
money is there left?
We'll look at that.
That's
is
not
it 6 to 800,000,
I think we're right around 700,000.
somewhere in that
But some of
ballpark.
it is allocated.
Well, some of it initially we talked about using for the boiler's gonna run us.
Oh, well, I can't remember.
300,000.
About 300,000,
And with their computer system and everything.
And on the boiler, I think I should call him, the guy that's worked several of the schools working on boilers and stuff, he emailed me with a bunch of suggestions of people to call, good and bad and everything else, I gotta get back with him when we get, and I'm waiting on him. That's it, seventh guy, Siemens,
What were they
he's
talking?
working on a new,
I think the one though, the one was like 171,000, wasn't it, for just the first option?
yeah, and then it was another 60 some for the computer,
68,000 for the
something like
computer.
250 or 80 or something.
Yeah, and then.
I've got that here. So, yeah, but that, I had an email with a whole bunch of information on where to call and contact, and I thought when we got the Simmons deal, I would call them, we can bring it here. and Look at that, it hasn't quit yet, but we need to be working on a plan.
The boilers were put in just before the fire, I think, and I'm thinking we brought them up to date for the fire, but the chiller wasn't put in until 93.
Mhm.
We've got a new chiller and.
I know you got a new chiller, so, but you were talking about computer.
Our computer system.
And that went in 93 when the new, when it all
Right,
the, system went in the air in 8,
and we have not had a new computer system.
yeah. Cause it,
If
because we didn't have it before, we had 31 air conditioners hanging out the windows and we had one thermostat and it was in the auditor's office. So when the judge got hot or cold, the thermostat went up or down.
If the computer system goes, it's gonna be.
Yeah, it will be.
Right, I mean, that's
Definitely.
where I feel like the time. sense-
Yes, yes.
We're on bar. It was a project that actually started pre-COVID,
Uh-huh.
and, then during COVID, they didn't do site visits. Unless it was like you broke down or there was a massive, so they didn't come see us then,
Mhm.
and, so it's been something, and then the guy left, so then a guy came, we went through everything, and then he never came back.
Great.
That's when we called, her.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, we just need to be looking at, like,
Taking the concept about 1.1 million in football.
how much of that is some of that to go to the window still as we pay out and things like that? Or
No,
that,
your windows are all back to money now.
local option.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I thought you,
technically, some of that money you could put towards jail, because you could really qualify your jail for,
we've been saving for years on that.
yes.
And it needs to be done soon,
It's
sooner
gotta
than
be
later.
done as wise
Sooner than later,
possibly do it,
yes.
'cause
So,
Just basic,
basic and efficient.
nothing fancy, but yes. anyway.
Well, can we make if we work with secondary roads and we somehow, they do qualify for some of that, could we give them the money on a contingency, we get it back, like speed things up 2 years, and then 2 years we get the money back? Into this or not?
I mean, you can do it,
Like
and fun.
we basically,
I would
Yeah.
recommend.
No,
was trying to think of how to speed this up a couple years
I mean,
on this.
really,
deal. This would borrow ahead on that deal anyway, if we want to borrow, but with this is money we actually have.
I mean, really like your farm market and your funding, I know he's borrowed ahead on some of that.
Yeah.
but, I mean, really, that's the reason why that you can, I mean, you can kind of. You just need to prepare, you might get upside down on things that if you.
I wouldn't want to get you.
No, you don't want, I don't like borrowing at all, and you can have, but I'm trying to think of a way to somehow speed those roads up a couple years.
Now you can look at his budget and see if there's any. I mean, cause he does, I mean, road use tax for that the last couple of years, I mean, that's always.
Some money there.
The secondary road budget is so hard to read.
It is. It's broken in so
hard to
many
figure
pieces,
out.
you can't track
Yeah,
it. Is there a way to make it simpler to understand, to look at?
no, they've got it, I mean,
If you
They
can
put
figure
everything
that out,
in.
I give you all the power.
yeah, good luck with that.
If you can.
Well, we could,
Educate us.
I kind of want them just on the people, but because they pay, everybody gets paid from 100 different places.
Yes,
Well, go, that's fine.
but they have to do that because of the state.
And that's fine, but when we have payroll, they get a check, we can break down people. Because it has to come together in a
Well,
check.
he does have to do that, like when he amends and things like that, he adjusts for that, because his DOT does only allow him to go, I think, 10% over. So if he's not falling in the right category, then he gets in trouble with DOT. So,
Well, I've asked him for, I sent him an email and asked him for a list of every single piece of equipment with the information.
And he has
I
that.
also asked him, yeah, every engineer has it. And I've also asked him for the classifications and what the employees are paid,
Yeah, each
per hour.
employee.
each employee, and what their classification is. Now,
Which
whether we
that
get
would
it
be
tomorrow or
payroll.
not, I don't know. But, it's been asked for and we won't approve the budget until we can. Yeah,
Yeah.
how's that?
Yeah. It'd be nice to know each employee and where they are and what the deal is. That's basically impossible to find this book.
Yeah,
Okay,
so that
Wow.
looks good, Melissa.
one
I
more,
think.
1.1 million in savings. And that doesn't count this year. What we're looking at right now. Is that right? The 200.
It's what's there now.
1.1 million set aside, not counting this, what we're looking at, right? This is new money.
yeah, this is total.
Oh, with this year included.
Yes.
So we have.
So we still have things to pay.
Yeah, that's, so what
No, this
is,
would be, if you pay everything out of here,
Uh-huh,
we're looking at 1.1 million.
Okay.
sitting.
Oh,
okay.
if we spend all this? If we allocated all the money on there, so we really have 1.3.
So we're going through next year and we'll have
Right,
1.1
it'll be a
million.
little bit, it'll be 1.0.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to put everything in
Okay,
the solutions yet.
okay,
So we have a good savings there.
Yes, which, I mean, you can really come around and allocate a lot of it, like to the jail, I mean. Or like, because you started with the windows, the top cleaning and the jail on those three.
And the ARPA came in and
Yes, and then with ARPA, we were.
so we didn't have to
Paid
spend
for,
it.
Take care of some of
ARPA
those.
paid for all of that,
Yeah,
or well, the
windows.
windows and the tuck pointing, right?
yeah.
Yes. And then hopefully if we could even put the chiller, that would knock that out too.
Is the chiller not
not the
working?
chiller,
Or not
boiler.
Boiler.
Okay,
Well, we'll see what the options are then. See what we got there. Okay. So. Do we want to increase any of these in here or just leave this like they are? These people, these local things that are going on.
I think I'd leave them like they are for now, if you increased them last year,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, well then what do we need to do next? Todd, do you have any opinion on it?
I'll get those, I'll reprint those solution sheets and think of those teams for you guys.
Okay.
So that was a lot, that took a while, and the others are easier.
So now it's just the attorney, if you guys wanna knock out attorney sheriff real quick, those are basically,
Yeah.
look at them and say they're okay.
That's the same. Is
It's
it
the same, basically, both of them, yeah.
They're right behind, they're gonna be right behind.
I see.
Actually, the rest of them are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Number 4, no,
14 is
14 is-
special law enforcement, 15 investigation.
Yeah.
And then
They
7,
don't typically use these, if they go to restricted ones, they don't use it, but if they need them, then they are.
that's $2,500.
And then the other one's 2,200, so.
I think those
You
look
guys have
fine.
any issues with those?
No, I don't.
Do you wanna do miscellaneous court ordered services?
Yep.
it's pretty much a wash too.
Or did
It's
Mike-
pretty much the same too. So,
No, fine. What number is it?
It is-
Oh, court, I found
it's 17.
it.
And it's pretty much standard.
Yeah.
We always allocate for 80,000. Because we do have any individual sentence or sentence, placed.
This is, and what we're spending, this is the board I'm on. Is this, juvenile detention or what is it?
No, your juveniles will be back in the morning.
Okay.
This is if they are, placed in like Toledo or by DHS. Unfortunately, if they are products of the system, we don't get to know, we don't even get to know someone when they're placed. And then we get a very large bill of it.
We have no choice.
And as a Page County resident, then the county pays for those services, so we always budget. One resident basically. So this was budget. We did not, and we got a large bill of DHS to give us a year to catch up, but basically we got okay, if this happens again, we will not do that again. So after
Okay,
the nice discussion with him, I've never steered clear of that.
general relief, where's that
It's the next one.
at? Next one. Oh, right there, yeah.
Right next. And this is, basically, this is the house resort, and I should retire.
I was gonna say, who's doing this?
So we've had a couple different ones. There was one lady that she got, she was a little more generous. And so now we have one kind of back into being a little more restrictive. They try to really find the other avenues where they come here, but we do budget a little bit in case, we pay them, West Central $5,000 a year to administer this for us.
Oh, West Central does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they actually contract me for you. And, then we just allocate a little bit. The main thing is, they do have to hit certain income requirements, and they basically have to go through multiple steps before they're eligible. So.
Okay. Any questions there?
Nothing's changed on it.
Okay, then we'll go to human services.
That's the next one.
Yeah. Services is next, and, this one again is, for lack of a better word, I send it to the DHS and send it back to me. So, which I don't think really anything changed this year, but this is, they utilize for the building over it.
Mhm.
You guys see anything with that?
There's their,
So what, you send this money to DHS?
No,
No.
I send the budget to him, and he,
So who's doing this? Is this West Central also?
no, this is, from Human Services, there is, I say, I'm gonna botch his name. It's just changed, it changed in the last couple of years, but they can put it into that.
there's no changes there, really, doesn't look like.
It is. I want to say that Matt said that. That's right. Or it could have been Matt, and now he's retired.
Been the same budget item for years, same amount, 11,650. Okay,
24 is the next one.
integrated road management.
And this is pretty much stayed the same.
Do we have?
Oh, I'm in secondary roads.
So that is, to address,
Yeah, do we have a lead person?
yeah, I think we do, because I think by code. we-
Oh, that's your weed,
Well, but we haven't had one for a long time, I don't think. So according to the minutes and stuff.
so there's no.
So I think we need to talk to
salary.
that with JD tomorrow.
Yeah, so that might be a discussion.
I think that would.
I think they're having trouble finding somebody to. I think he told me he had somebody that was certified, but they didn't want to do it. Not true. I can't remember.
For all of these, some presence of weed eradication on the county. That's we levy for that, isn't there? Is there a levy for weed? Is that part of the levy or not?
No, but we actually do allocate some funding to that, so,
What are they using that for?
you actually transfer some rural basic money. So. Typically, it's. If you're not.
A certain time of the year, there should be somebody
We
doing.
used to pay for 5, 10, 12 silver.
Yeah.
We've still been transferring it, but I don't.
I don't think we should transfer it until we know.
Yeah, so that might be something we're gonna.
Yes, I think we need to talk to him about that tomorrow. So,
Other than that, it's pretty, we do save, a few things just in case we ever have to send out letters or anything, but. You guys wanna go to county?
so you actually transferred 26,000?
Mhm.
Wow.
Well, I think until last year we had someone. Cause last year we had, just left. Rick Daly did it and then. It will come to me. We had somebody else do it.
Trying to think who else is left, secondary road.
Well, so that's the weed deal.
That's the one
Tomorrow.
we need to discuss with him, because there's no reason to transfer it if there's not a weed commissioner,
Yeah.
Okay, on the farm,
none.
we're taking in 77,000. Just if you're,
Yeah.
got 8,000 spent, we've not spent anything, there's some things need to be done out there. To keep it up,
Who's got the contract on it now?
Donald.
Donald's, okay.
So, I mean, there's things that are our responsibility as landowner to keep it up, not the renters.
Yes.
They're between Orchlands and, where it starts there, the fence line, the brush has been let go. And it's about 20 or 30 foot tall now, the fence, which is, and even the fence going down 71, there's brush in the fence. That should be got out of there. I don't know if we should have in the winter, that'd be part of the county guys go out there when they're cutting brush, cut the brush out of that fence and treat it. It looks terrible. If it's my farm, I wouldn't have that there, and we're collecting a world of rent. We've got to fix that farm.
I think you just need to hire somebody rather than having county.
Well, if they're just cutting brush anyway, I don't know, they cut brush here, there, everywhere, or even if we hire, give them a little something towards their budget, they can help their budget out, then it's like Peter Pan Paul, though.
Well, it used to be that because they're a different fund, you needed to pay them whenever they did anything. I don't know whether JD's been sticking to that or not, but some
I
of the
don't know.
engineers have been pretty sticky about it.
Well, whatever.
Is that
we do,
because it's not
find a way to
county?
cover it.
Because it's not
County
county.
property, it's a private,
No, it's county
we
property,
don't-
but it doesn't, it's not under secondary road.
okay.
I don't know about that, but
Pretty much, is he willing?
it's practical.
Okay, well then,
They kind of traded some things, like,
okay,
our maintenance person used to go around cleaning, and so then they would push snow, which.
Okay.
they the year.
okay.
Yeah, maybe just look into that, but there's some issues very easily noticed that it's being let go, they're brushing the fence, that's not the renter's responsibility to cut brush the fence.
Do you maybe wanna kind of spearhead that and look into?
Yeah, I can.
Because we do have money set aside that if we need to do something.
So is this money saving every year, or is it just budgeted and it goes back to general?
It goes back to general fund deficit.
So, I mean, that's just a simple thing there. Now, if there happens to be a jail there, if that happens to be where it's built, there'll be dirt work happening and smoothing and fixing and all kinds of stuff going on.
But if you're taking in $77,000.
We can invest something back in the farm.
Yes,
We need to
definitely.
give some of that money back
Yeah.
to the farm. She left it to the county and we're not.
Yeah.
We're not keeping it up. If we did try to spend $10,000 a year as efficiently as we could, 10 years later, we'd really have that place up in shape. And still have collected a lot of rent.
So what's
we
the
need to do
8,000
that.
for?
What's
Just
that?
for any expenses.
Just
Oh, that's-
like upkeep on the farm and,
Okay,
you know, when does that lease come up again?
I think in 2 years.
2 more years. This is the first year of the new lease, I think.
This might be the second year. Third.
And I've had several questions on that lease. So when it comes back up, if I'm still here, or whoever's here, gotta look at some of the situation with the cows, how many cows, if there's too many.
We have some of those in there already, I just.
Yeah, there's some of those things. Maybe just look at it again whenever the lease is due, because I've had calls on that about understock, overstock, you know, take care of the farm, which is a landowner, is what you would do. You'd be trying to keep an eye on all those things. So yeah, I can look at that. The brush get down there, talk to JD about it or whoever, but we need to. I think we'd clean that up.
Yeah.
The basic, that's just basic maintenance. Getting rid of thorn trees and brush.
how many acres are there? I can't remember.
Several hundred, and there's
Can't
300
remember.
acres, I think.
You guys go.
I think so. So we'll leave 8,000 there, or should we up that? Just in case we spend more money, we can amend with it.
Use it or pass.
But we need to spend some money on farm this year, take care of it.
So tomorrow, for Wednesday, we need to put down revisit conservation and public health salaries.
We're just gonna need to basically, well, there's that, but I think we need to talk about
And salaries in general.
salaries in general, just to have a discussion on that, I guess.
Public health, I think we already gathered, we already told him what to do on that,
But
but,
if it's,
But you're gonna leave the others.
but need to talk about conservation.
no, this was Todd and I's suggestion there the other day, we just had a 5-minute conversation. The 3.85, is that concrete, is that, I mean, that's a suggestion, and it kind of fits the narrative, I think. But that's what we got in here, so.
Well, it's what you've told everybody to use, and if we have to go back and change it, it's gonna be a mess.
It's gonna be a mess.
It's gonna be a huge job. As you-
I bet they do.
So I didn't know if you could negotiate.
I'm doing it for going up, I'm not going for down.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I wouldn't negotiate to go down, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, when do we see, I guess that's, you gave us that, that's what you get, here, you gave us the, I have right in front of me. We knew where we ended up tonight, when do we talk about that? This kind of tells us where the ending picture is, I mean, this is the.
Yeah.
Well, that's because levies right now have not changed. Your fund balances, I don't have that kind of rate right now.
Now, the evaluation's been way up, and people gonna pay more taxes, so.
not necessarily, depends on the rollback.
And I can just, I'm gonna have to leave it.
Oh. That's fine, go right ahead.
This is not a.
I think we're done, so let's adjourn for this for today,
Alright.
so tomorrow.
But we have to,
Well, because I just sent out the agenda for Wednesday.
we're coming back at 5, right?
What time Wednesday, so
Tonight.
Wednesday
Well, I
morning,
think-
what we have, do we have anything on Wednesday?
5 o'clock tonight.
Other
Yes.
things on Wednesday, how much time do you have Wednesday? Right now.
Well, we put down all budgets for getting tomorrow on there just in case, because ideally, we are going to do the approval of the resolution to increase the max property taxes because of the valuation increase. So I have to have, like, it's 40, this guy will need to go through all the budget pieces first. So we can set those dates, and then basically, I'd like to get through all the budget stuff, so I can start putting in DOM. So that we can move forward with the budget hearing and stuff that.
So that's what you have for Wednesday, so you have a couple hours Wednesday, what do you have?
Is it an all
I'm
day?
doing my
Wednesday?
agenda.
I'm hoping, it's as long as you guys want it to.
Well, I understand, but I'm just trying to look at Wednesday, so the morning, till dinner time, or what do you got thinking right now, roughly?
I'm thinking it could be morning to dinner, to lunch,
Lunch.
but if you guys need more time, then you just, I'm planning on, here's how do I say this?
I didn't take any time off, so I'm gonna have to try to work that out with my boss
And,
for Wednesday.
Well,
and
can
here's
we-
it, but I would like to have it done so I can get it to NDOM and to the papers.
And that needs to be done.
Publication date can change too.
Well, maybe
When
we
is it?
can do it tomorrow.
Yes,
Just go
and-
longer tomorrow, that'd be fine.
Yeah, we could just
Let's do it
finish,
tomorrow.
do it tomorrow.
Well, we're gonna be here all day, all night anyway, so that's why we just do it tomorrow.
Sheriff's budget tomorrow and, the sheriff's budget and, Secondary Road, which usually take.
Longer.
Along.
We let Lyle talk for 3 hours.
But if we start and stop tomorrow,
I
we
mean,
can,
that's what it means, Lyle just. So,
well, let's practice
Well-
tomorrow. Just put it on there for tomorrow, see if we can get it done. And you can make it Wednesday one in case we don't.
I'm sorry, what on?
You, whatever you want to do Wednesday, just put it on the end of tomorrow. Can you do that?
I gotta get that, so I can't put it on until after complete one,
That's fine.
so we need 24 hours.
Yeah, just,
So then we can try to make through as much of that as possible, and then I'll probably still go ahead and roll out an agenda for Wednesday, and then we can always cancel if we need
Yeah.
to. But, that way then we have, because tomorrow you pretty much already have a full budget.
So some of them are gonna be easy. It'll be the sheriff and the
we got time. to
secondary
tap
road
in.
that'll be bad.
We don't have an agenda.
Uh,
We have time to tap in, we don't have an agenda though. Tomorrow evening we have meetings, so we can do some of it then too, if we have to.
what do you have to do tomorrow evening?
We've got our regular supervisor meeting,
Oh, we have a meeting tomorrow at 6.
a regular one.
Oh,
There's not very much. on
I
there.
didn't know that.
Should be some, I think, so.
Unfortunately, I won't be able to be here tomorrow.
So
What's on at 6 tomorrow night?
it's a different agenda. I think she sent it out probably. So we'll have to go through our regular meeting. So, I guess just do that, just have. You want to put it on tomorrow, Kate, in case we get to it like today or not? Just have it there and Wednesday, since we're on both spots.
No, I'm
The 1
gonna
o'clock?
on everything I possibly can.
Okay, just in case we get to it.
Yeah.
That sounds good to
When
me.
you get, you sure.
I have one scheduled for when it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one on is a case. I think we're gonna need to get that. Tax. The max. Take a look.
When is the deadline? What,
I feel like everything has it right now on March 31st. But you have to have your.
20 days?
Yeah, you have to have your first publication, you have to approve your first publication, then publish your first publication, and then you have to wait until your first publication is actually published. Or you can publish your second publication
What are we doing for publication?
for the max. part.
Oh, the max.
They
Okay.
changed it on that.
Yeah.
They changed it.
You need a
But not the
month,
budget,
basically.
but.
As of right now, and then we're waiting for legislation, which we're another, gonna pick a small paper, which
So-
is decided.
The budget is now to the 31st instead of the 15th.
So do we have, is it a month? We need, do we have, well, we don't want to leave it to the end, but we have the month,
You get marked when I get.
Well,
we have the
yeah,
month of
because,
February.
because you don't know what the newspaper, so they'll get it in or not.
Well, we have.
And now we have one. Oh, I know, yeah. Yeah.
Losing my hair.
Yeah.
So we've got to the middle of February, basically, as the line in the sand, we better be done. They give us 45 days to get it done.
Pretty much.
So we're the first of January, first of February here, right? now.
Yeah.
Ideally, I mean, but you have to really do, everything feeds on it, each other, so really, we need to pretty much have it. I mean, like, done. Because once I put it in DOM, then I'm just changing DOM many times, so.
Yeah, you want to get everything in solutions first.
Yeah.
Get it, you know, yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we need to adjourn then. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Adjourn.
Okay, so tomorrow at 8:30. Night at 5.
Oh,
Tonight
yeah,
at 5.
tonight at 5. I'm gonna forget that.
And I didn't realize, yeah, don't forget that.
I just about forgot.
Do not forget it because this one is really important. It's crazy. That budget of his is crazy. Sorry,
Yeah.
write that down so you don't forget.
Yep.
Okay, bye.
I'm sorry. I gotta be breakfast.
I had my drink, my chocolate drink. That's. Okay, I guess I'll just leave everything here.
Gotta find some waste in the budget, some
You gotta find what?
waste.
Jacob, you're not gonna find it. Most of the departments, how do we end this? Are we still on Zoom?
I go to X. The meeting. Then you can leave the meeting.
X,
Yep, hit the X, then
leave meeting, okay,
There you go.
okay.